Hey guys, we tend to think of history as this grand, epic story, a series of heroic poses and noble speeches. We get these images from films and stories, of spotless heroes and clear-cut villains. But the past wasn't a movie set. It was a cold, wet, and often deeply uncomfortable place to be. The reality of daily life for most people, even for the classes we've put on a pedestal, was a million miles away from the legends we've built around them. The truth is, surviving history was the hard part. If you enjoy digging into these grittier, more honest versions of the past, maybe consider giving the channel a little support. It helps us keep digging, but no pressure. The most important thing is that you're here. It's always amazing to see how far these stories travel. I'm sitting here in my room, but these words are finding you all over the world. Let me know down below where you're tuning in from. It's a great feeling to see this global community come together. Alright, it's time. Wherever you are, I want you to let the day go. Settle into your chair or get comfortable in bed. Dim the lights, take a deep breath, and let it out. This isn't a lecture. This is just a journey back. A chance to walk around in a world that is long, long gone. We're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most romanticized figures in all of history. We're going to set aside the heroic music and the dramatic standoffs, and instead, we're going to experience the cold, mundane, and often brutal reality of life in feudal Japan, and the dark secrets of the samurai. Your world is made of mud and rice. You are a farmer, a male, and you're standing in a flooded paddy, your back bent into a permanent curve. The water is cold, seeping into the rough spun cloth wrapped around your legs. It is early morning, but you have been here for hours, ever since the sky was a pale, flat grey. Your hands are submerged in the muck, feeling for the roots of the new rice shoots, pushing them one by one into the thick, dark slurry. The smell is overwhelming, a mix of wet earth, animal manure, and the sour scent of standing water. This is your entire existence. Your muscles ache, not a sharp pain, but a deep, constant throb that lives in your lower back and your shoulders. You pause for a moment, straightening up just a few inches to ease the pressure. You look across the fields. They stretch out in every direction, a patchwork of flooded squares separated by narrow, muddy ridges. In the distance, you can see other figures, other males and females, bent at the same angle, performing the same repetitive motion. No one speaks. The only sounds are the squelch of mud and the distant call of a bird. Your life is governed by the sun and the rain. Your focus is singular. This rice is not yours. It belongs to someone else. You are thinking about the tax. The tax is not an abstract concept. It is a physical dread that sits in your stomach. Soon a male will come from the town. He will be clean. He will be wearing layers of silk. He will not be wearing the simple straw sandals that you have, but wooden platforms that keep his feet elevated from the ground. He will carry a ledger, a stack of bound papers, and a counting tool. He will be followed by other males in simple armour made of lacquered plates, carrying long, thick wooden staffs. They will come to your village, and they will measure the rice. They will take half. Sometimes they take more. They take the best rice, leaving you and your family with the broken grains and the chaff. You have seen this happen every year of your life. You have seen your neighbours, gaunt-faced and thin, hand over the heavy straw bales, their hands shaking. You know that the amount of rice you are left with must last you until the next harvest. You know that it will not be enough. The feeling of hunger is a familiar companion, a dull ache that sharpens in the cold months. This is the foundation of the entire system. This is the secret that fuels the entire warrior class. They do not grow food. They do not make goods. They exist because you exist, bent over in the mud. The epic poems and the grand stories of honor are all built on the grains of rice you are pushing into the earth, grains that you will likely never get to eat. This isn't heroism. It's just accounting, and you're on the wrong side of the ledger. Suddenly, you hear a sound from the road. It's the clack, clack, clack of the wooden sandals on the hard-packed earth. Your head snaps up. A male is approaching. He is from the samurai class. You know this instantly. You know it from the way he walks. A slow, deliberate pace that owns the ground he moves on. You know it from the layers of dark silk he wears, and the way his hair is oiled and tied in a knot on the top of his shaved head. He is not looking at you. He is looking straight ahead, his expression flat and unmoving. Your stomach tightens. You do not wait. You immediately drop from your bent position onto your hands and knees, and then you press your entire body flat onto the muddy ridge. Your face is pressed into the wet earth. The smell of the mud fills your nostrils. You do not look up. You do not breathe. You simply lie there, a bundle of wet rags and fear, making yourself as small and as insignificant as possible. This is the rule. This is Kirisute Gomen, the right to cut and leave. Of course, you don't know its formal name. You only know the reality. You know that this male, by virtue of his birth, has the right to end your life for any perceived slight. A glance that lingers too long. A failure to show the proper respect. A simple, inconvenient presence in his path. Your life is a privilege, not a right, and it is his to revoke. You are not a person to him. You are part of the landscape, like a tree or a rock, and you are expected to behave as such. The clacking sound stops. It stops right beside your head. You can hear the faint rustle of his silk robes. You can smell the faint, clean scent of the incense he burns in his home. A smell that cuts through the odour of the paddy. He is standing there, silent. You feel a single drop of sweat, cold, trace a path down your temple, mixing with the mud on your cheek. Your heart is a drum against your ribs. You keep your eyes squeezed shut. The silence stretches. It lasts for 1 second, 5 seconds, 10. It feels like an entire lifetime. You are waiting for a shout, for a kick, for the sharp, sudden end. Then the clacking sound resumes. Clack, clack, clack. It moves away from you, down the road, growing fainter. You do not move. You stay pressed to the earth for a long time, long after the sound is gone. You wait until you are absolutely certain he is gone. Only then do you slowly, painfully push yourself up. You are shaking. Your hands are slick with the mud. You look down the road. He is just a dark shape in the distance. He never once looked back. You take a shuddering breath. You turn, step back into the cold water of the paddy, and bend your back into that familiar, aching curve. You have rice to plant. Now, let's change perspective. You are not the farmer. You are the samurai. But it is not the warring period. It is the long, quiet, stagnant centuries of the Edo period. Peace has broken out, and it's the worst thing that could have ever happened to your career. You are a warrior with no one to fight. You are a member of a military class in a society that has no military engagements. So, what do you do all day? You are, in essence, a very grumpy accountant. You live in a small, cramped house in a castle town. The wooden walls are thin, and you can hear your neighbours on both sides. Your wife, a female from another low-ranking family, is in the back room, weaving cloth to sell at the market. Her fingers are rough, and she is always tired. You are poor. You are not paid in gold or silver. You are paid in koku, bales of rice. Your entire yearly salary is a fixed amount of rice, the very same rice that the farmer in the paddy is growing. The problem is, you cannot eat all of this rice. You cannot pay for your daughters, your younger females, wedding with rice. You cannot fix the hole in your roof with rice. You need cash. So, you must go to a merchant. You walk through the town, your hand resting on nothing. Your status is all you have. The merchants, the chonin, are technically the lowest class in the social hierarchy. You are the highest, but the merchant is rich and you are poor. You slide open the door to the rice broker's shop. The air inside is thick with the dry, dusty smell of grain. Bales are stacked to the ceiling. The merchant, a plump male with soft hands and a silk robe far finer than yours, greets you. He bows, but his eyes are appraising. He knows why you are here. You are here to sell your rice stipend. He will take your rice, and he will give you coins in exchange. But the price of rice changes. When the harvest is good, the price plummets. Your fixed salary is suddenly worth half of what it was last year. The merchant knows this. He clicks his abacus, the wooden beads making a dry, sharp sound. He names a price. It is insulting. It is barely enough to cover your debts. Your stomach tightens, and you feel a hot flush on your neck. You want to shout. You want to remind this merchant of your station, of the fact that your ancestors were warriors. But you do not. You cannot. Because you owe this merchant money. You took a loan from him last winter when the price of rice was low and your younger male was sick. You are trapped. This merchant, this male you are supposed to despise, holds your entire life in his soft, plump hands. You clench your jaw, give a short, sharp nod, and accept the coins. They feel heavy and cold in your hand. You bow stiffly and leave the shop, the merchant's polite smile feeling like a physical blow. This is the great, unglamorous secret of the peaceful era. The warrior class, with all its posturing and claims of moral superiority, became systematically indebted to the merchant class they looked down upon. They had status, but the merchants had the cash. And in a world without battles, cash was the only thing that mattered. Many samurai, just like you, were forced into side hustles. They made sandals. They crafted umbrellas. They became teachers, or, in the most desperate cases, even sold their status to a wealthy merchant's son. You walk back to your small, cold house. You hand the small pouch of coins to your wife, a female who says nothing, but whose downturned mouth tells you everything. You go to your room. It is small, with a single window looking out onto a tiny, barren patch of gravel. There is no glorious view. There is no call to action. There is just the sound of your neighbour coughing through the thin wall. You sit. You have a job to do. Your job as a samurai in this peaceful age is not patrolling the borders or protecting your lord. Your job is paperwork. You are a yuhitsu, a secretary, in the castle's storehouse. You slide open a wooden box and pull out a stack of paper, a block of dried ink, and a grinding stone. You pour a small amount of water onto the stone and begin to grind the ink, the circular motion repetitive and hypnotic. The smell of the ink, a faint, earthy scent, fills the small room. You are not alone. You walk to the castle every morning, a journey of 10 minutes. You enter a long, low building. Inside, it is dark and cool. Dozens of other males, all from your class, all with their hair in the same top knot, are already seated on the floor in neat rows. Each male has a low wooden desk in front of him. You take your place. The room is silent, save for the rustle of paper and the scratching of brushes. Your task for the day is to update the inventory of the castle's rice stores. You are given a ledger from a supervisor, a senior male with a perpetually annoyed expression. You must copy the numbers from one page to another. You must check the calculations. You must ensure that the amount of rice recorded matches the amount of rice reported by the tax collectors. This is your great battle. This is your heroic struggle. You are fighting a war against poor arithmetic. You dip your brush in the ink. You make the first careful stroke on the new page. Your hand is steady. You have been trained for this. Not trained in the art of combat, but in the art of calligraphy. Your value to your lord is not in your strength, but in your neat, legible handwriting. You spend your entire day copying lists. Lists of rice bales, lists of dried fish, lists of timber planks for repairing a wall. Hours pass. The light in the room shifts as the sun moves across the sky, casting long rectangles on the floor from the paper-screened windows. Your back aches. Your knees are stiff from sitting in the formal kneeling position. A younger male comes around with a pot of weak, lukewarm tea. You take a sip. It tastes like dust. You look at the male next to you. He is asleep, his head nodding forward, a small trail of ink on his cheek. You nudge him. He jerks awake, looks around in a panic, and quickly returns to his column of numbers. This is the reality. The warrior class became the bureaucratic class. They were the administrators, the clerks, the managers of a complex feudal system. They were trapped in a rigid hierarchy, shuffling papers for a meagre salary of rice, all while clinging to the fading stories of their grandfathers. There is no honour in this. There is only the cramp in your hand and the endless columns of numbers. No one is writing an epic poem about your successful balancing of the third quarter rice inventory. But what about the look, the famous image of the warrior? Surely that, at least, is as impressive as it seems. Let's find out. You are now a young male, an attendant to a mid-level samurai. It is early morning, and your lord is preparing for an official day at the castle. Your first task is his hair. You are in a small, bare room. Your lord, a muscular male in his 40s, sits on a cushion, his upper body bare. His hair is long and loose, hanging down his back. The first thing you notice is the top of his head. It is shaved, not fashionably buzzed, but scraped clean with a sharp razor. The skin is pale and often irritated, dotted with small red marks where the razor moved too quickly. This isn't a style. It's practical. It's to reduce the heat and irritation of wearing a heavy, lacquered helmet all day. In an era of peace, there is no helmet, but the tradition remains. It looks cold. You take a wooden comb and begin to work through his long, thick black hair. It is oily. Very oily. You're applying camellia oil, a thick, heavy substance that coats every strand. It has a faint, nutty smell, but it's mixed with the smell of old sweat and the close, human scent of an unwashed body. Bathing is not a daily affair. It is a weekly, or sometimes monthly, luxury. The oil helps to plaster the hair down, and it also, supposedly, helps with the other great secret, lice. You comb carefully, your eyes scanning the scalp. You gather the oiled hair, pull it tight, very tight, and tie it. Then you fold it forward over the shaved pate, creating the famous top knot, the chômage. You tie it again, firmly. Your lord grunts. You have pulled it too tight. You adjust. It's a functional, uncomfortable hairstyle designed for a piece of equipment that he will never wear. It is, in reality, a hot, greasy, and itchy mess. Now, the clothing. He stands. You and another attendant, a young female, begin the process of dressing him. It is not a simple matter of throwing on a robe. It is a construction. First, the undergarments, simple white cotton. Then, the main robe, the kosode. Then, The wider, stiffer outer robe, made of dark blue silk. It is heavy. The fabric is thick. Finally, you help him step into the hakama, the wide, pleated trousers. You tie the straps at his waist, pulling them tight. But today is a formal day. He is not just wearing robes. He is wearing his armour, not the full, heavy plate of the battlefield, but the symbolic, formal layers required for castle duty. You bring the lacquered plates. They are not gleaming metal. They are small squares of hardened leather and iron, coated in thick black lacquer and tied together with coloured silk cords. They are stiff and awkward. You strap the shoulder guards on. They are heavy, and they sit awkwardly, digging into his neck. You tie the chest piece, a solid plate of lacquered protection. It makes a dull thud as it settles against his silk robe. He grunts again, adjusting his shoulders. The whole outfit is heavy. It is cumbersome. It is hot. He is now wearing multiple layers of silk, cotton, and lacquered leather. You can see a bead of sweat already forming on his shaved scalp. He stands there, fully dressed. He looks impressive, perhaps, from a distance. But up close you can smell the oil in his hair and that old sweat on his robes. You can see the way the lacquered plates pinch his shoulders, and the red mark on his forehead where the helmet would rub if he ever wore one. He picks up a fan, the only tool he will use today, and walks stiffly out of the room, his movements constrained by the layers of his symbolic, useless protection. Let's go back in time to the warring period, the Sengoku Jidai. Here, at least, the warrior class must have been focused on combat. You are a younger male, a new recruit in a training yard. You are not, as you might imagine, being taught the mystical arts of the blade. The blade is a sidearm. It is a personal defense item. The real tools of the battlefield are very different. Your day begins before sunrise. You are in a large muddy field, along with 50 other males, all dressed in simple damp tunics. Your first lesson, the long wooden staff. Not a slender dueling stick, but a thick, heavy pole of solid oak, taller than you are. Your instructor, an older male with a scarred face and a voice like gravel, shouts commands. You grip the staff. Your knuckles are white. The training is not graceful. It is brutal, repetitive, and exhausting. You practice one move, a downward swing, over and over and over. You swing the heavy staff until your shoulders burn with a white-hot fire. Your hands are covered in blisters. The instructor walks the line. He slams his own staff against your leg. You buckle, but you do not fall. You are not learning a martial art. You are being conditioned. You are learning to hit hard, to endure pain, and to move as one part of a large, blunt instrument. After the staffs, you move to the other primary tool. You are handed a long, curved piece of wood, taller than a male. It has a taut string running from end to end. You are given a handful of fletched shafts, each with a pointed metal tip. You are learning archery, but this is not the elegant meditative archery of a Zen monastery. This is massed fire warfare. You stand in a long line. The target is not a small bullseye. It is a massive, man-shaped bundle of straw set up 100 paces away. Draw. The instructor bellows. You brace the long wooden limb against your knee, set the fletched shaft, and pull the string back. The string is thick, and it cuts into your fingers. The draw weight is immense. Your entire body trembles with the effort. Your arm muscles scream. Loose. You release. The shaft flies, a dark streak against the grey sky. It thuds into the field, 20 paces short of the target. The male next to you isn't so lucky. His string snaps, lashing back and striking him in the face. He cries out, clutching his cheek. The instructor does not stop. Again. Draw. You fumble for another fletched shaft. your fingers numb. This is your life, 6 hours a day. You are not a duelist. You're a cog in a machine. You are being trained to be part of a wall of males with long staffs, or a line of males sending hundreds of fletched shafts into the air at once, hoping to strike something. The romantic notion of a one-on-one duel between two masters is a fantasy. That was for the poets. The reality of the battlefield was mud, noise, exhaustion, and the terrifying, impersonal rain of fletched shafts from a distance. And the famous blade? You do practice with it. You are given a heavy, curved practice staff made of wood. You are paired with another younger male. You spend hours practicing basic cuts and blocks. The movements are simple. They are repetitive. You slam your wooden staff against his, over and over, until your arms feel like lead. It is clumsy. It is loud. It is less like a ballet and more like two men trying to chop wood. This is the secret of the warrior's training. It is not about enlightenment. It is about manual labour. It is about turning your body into a simple, durable tool, and your mind into one that obeys commands without question. The life of a samurai-class female was no less brutal, though in a different way. You are a female, born into a powerful samurai family. You have been raised from infancy for one purpose, to be a political tool. You are not a person. You are an asset. You have been taught to read, not the complex histories and philosophies that some males study, but the simple, elegant scripts used for poetry. You have been taught to play a stringed instrument. You have been taught how to arrange flowers. These are not hobbies. They are skills designed to make you a more valuable bargaining chip. Your father, a powerful lord, is arranging a truce with a rival clan. The truce will be sealed by your marriage to the rival lord's son. You have never met this male. You have been told he is much older than you, and that his reputation is not a kind one. This does not matter. You are dressed in a heavy, elaborate gown of red and gold silk. It weighs more than you do. Your face is painted with a thick white paste, a mask of conformity. Your eyebrows have been plucked, and no one's painted higher up on your forehead. Your teeth have been dyed black, a sign of beauty and status. You kneel in a room, waiting to be collected. You are, in effect, a very polite and well-dressed hostage. You are sent to the rival's castle. It is a fortress of stone and dark wood. You are given rooms, but you are never, ever alone. Two older females, attendants loyal to your new husband, are with you constantly. They sleep in the room next to yours. They watch you when you eat. They watch you when you walk in the small, walled garden, the only place you are allowed to go. Your life is a gilded cage. Your duty is simple. Produce a male heir. That is your entire function. If you succeed, you will have secured your place in this new, hostile family. You will have proven your value. If you fail, or if you produce only younger females, your position is weak. You could be set aside, ignored, or sent back to your father in disgrace. An act that would shatter the truce and begin the conflict anew. The pressure is immense. It is not spoken, but it is in the way your husband, the older male, looks at you, with an appraising, impatient stare. It is in the way the female attendants whisper to each other when they think you are not listening. You sit by your paper window, looking out at the same small patch of raked gravel. You smell the incense burning in the corner. You hear the sound of the guards walking on the wooden veranda outside. You are not a partner. You are not a companion. You are a vessel. You are a piece of diplomacy, and the brutal reality of your life is a quiet, suffocating, and profound lack of freedom. The Honor Bugeisha, the female warrior of legend, was a phantom, a story told for inspiration. Your reality is this room, this silence, and this waiting. The myths of the samurai are built on one unshakable concept: loyalty. Bushido, the code of the warrior, a life given in service to one's lord, without question, until death. This is the cornerstone of the entire legend. It is also, perhaps, the greatest fabrication of all. Let's go back to the Sengoku Jidai, the age of warring states. You are a samurai, a captain in your lord's small army. Your lord is a minor player, stuck between two much larger, more powerful warlords, who are slowly crushing his lands between them. Your lord has declared his loyalty to the warlord to the east. You have sworn your oaths to your lord. Your loyalty is, theoretically, absolute. You are in the castle courtyard. It is raining, a cold, miserable drizzle. You are overseeing the younger males practicing with their heavy staffs. You see your lord's chief advisor, an older male, walking quickly across the courtyard with another captain. They are speaking in low, urgent tones. They do not look at you. They disappear into the main keep. This, by itself, is not unusual, but you feel a cold knot in your stomach. Later that night, you are in the barracks. You hear a sound, a single horse moving quietly, leaving the castle by the south gate. This is the gate that faces the other warlord, the one to the west, the enemy. You look through a slit in the wall. You see a single rider, a silhouette against the dark, disappearing into the woods. A messenger. The code of loyalty was a beautiful idea, but the reality of the warring period was a chaotic, desperate scramble for survival. Betrayal was not a shocking exception. It was the standard operating procedure. Loyalty was a commodity. It was traded, bought, and sold. A samurai's honor was often a thin veneer over a very practical and very human desire to be on the winning side. You lie on your mat, but you do not sleep. Your mind is racing. The messenger to the west can only mean one thing. Your lord is planning to switch his allegiance. He is going to betray the eastern warlord. This is a dangerous game. If he succeeds, he will be rewarded with new lands and titles. If he fails, if the eastern warlord finds out, or if the western warlord rejects his offer, you will all be destroyed. But your problem is more immediate. The captain you saw the advisor with, he is your rival. He has always disliked you. If this betrayal is successful, he will be in a position of power. You will be pushed aside. But what if you betray your lord first? What if you send your own messenger tonight to the eastern warlord, warning him of your lord's treachery? The eastern warlord would be grateful. He would reward you. He might even make you the lord of this castle. You are sweating, though the room is cold. This is the true dark secret. The age of wars was not an age of honor. It was an age of paranoia. It was a dizzying web of betrayals, counter-betrayals, and desperate gambles. The samurai were not noble automata, programmed for loyalty. They were ambitious, frightened, and pragmatic males, trying to navigate a world where the wrong allegiance, held for a single day too long, meant the end of everything. Your code is a luxury you cannot afford. Your only real loyalty is to your own survival. And then we come to the end, the most famous secret of all, the final honourable act that defines the samurai in our minds. Seppuku, the ritual of self-disembowelment, an act of ultimate courage, of taking responsibility for failure, or of protesting an unjust order. It is seen as the final dramatic proof of the warrior's spirit. The reality, as always, was colder and far less voluntary. You are a kaishakunin. You are the second. You are in a small, bare room in a secluded temple. The room is immaculate. The tatami mats on the floor are new, and they have a clean, grassy smell. The walls are white paper. It is night. The only light comes from 2 tall candles, their flames barely flickering in the still, heavy air. It is utterly silent. In the center of the room, a male is kneeling. He is a high-ranking samurai, a man you have known your entire life. He failed his lord. He was ordered to take a castle, and he failed. His failure is not a personal matter. It is a political one. He must be removed. This ritual is not his choice. It is his execution. It is a death sentence, wrapped in the comforting, formal robes of honor. The male is kneeling on a large, white cloth. He is wearing a simple white robe. He has just finished a ritual bath. His face is calm. It is a mask of perfect, rigid control. He has spent the last hour in quiet preparation. In front of him is a small, plain wooden tray. On the tray is a small, rectangular object, wrapped in white folded cloth. You stand behind him to his left. You are also wearing formal robes. Your hands are empty, but they are clenched at your sides. Your role is simple. Your role is to complete the act. This honorable ritual is, in practice, a 2-person job. The kneeling male will make the first symbolic gesture. He will pick up the wrapped object. He will touch it to his abdomen. He is not expected to complete the act. That is not the point. The point is the ritual itself. Your job is to stand and to wait. You are watching the back of his neck. You are the real instruments here. The air is so thick with tension it feels hard to breathe. The incense burning in the corner is cloying. Too sweet. The candle flames cast long, trembling shadows. The kneeling male is perfectly still. He is not looking at you. He is looking at the white wall in front of him. There is no glory here. There is no epic music. There is just a cold, procedural, and deeply lonely act. It is a solution to a political problem. It is a way for the ruling class to eliminate its own failures without the messiness of a public trial. The honor is the staging. It is the polite fiction that everyone in the room agrees to believe. The brutal reality is the cold floor, the white cloth, and the deafening, awful, patient silence. The kneeling male slowly raises his hands. He reaches for the tray. The figures we see in history are almost never what they seem. We have crafted the samurai into a symbol, a near mythical warrior poet who mastered both the art of living and the art of dying. We buy into the legend because it is a powerful one. It speaks of discipline, of honor, of a clarity of purpose that feels missing from our own complicated world. But the real males and females who lived inside that system were not symbols. They were people, trapped in a rigid and often brutal hierarchy. They were farmers, crushed by taxes. They were low-ranking warriors, drowning in debt and paperwork. They were women, traded like currency. They were attendants, living in fear. They were people who were cold, hungry, tired, and often just trying to make it to the next day. The truth, when you peel back the layers of legend, is always more complicated and far more human. The armourers of feudal Japan. We tend to think of history's most famous warriors as a one-person show. We picture the samurai, the knight, the legionary, and we see them fully formed, standing alone, ready for their close-up. But every single one of those iconic figures was the end product of a massive, hidden supply chain. They were the tip of a pyramid supported by thousands of anonymous, calloused hands. The most impressive gear in history wasn't bought at a shop. It was born from a long, slow, and often grueling process, built by people whose names we will never know. If you've stayed with me through this first story, I'm glad it's brought you a moment of peace. If you'd like to help this little community of ours keep growing, A simple like or subscribe is always appreciated. And I'd still love to know where you're listening from. It's been wonderful seeing voices from all over the world join in. Your story begins in the mud. You are a male, and you are standing knee-deep in a cold, fast-moving river. The water is so cold it makes your bones ache, a deep, thrumming pain that starts in your ankles and radiates up your shins. You've been here since the sky was a pale, flat grey, and now the sun is just beginning to filter through the tall, dark trees that line the riverbank. You're not alone. All along the river, dozens of other males are bent over, performing the exact same slow, scooping motion. No one speaks. The only sound is the rush of the water and the scrape of wooden tools against the riverbed. In your hands you hold a large, shallow, woven basket. You're not looking for gold. You're looking for something far less glamorous. Satetsu, iron sand. You scoop a heavy mass of dark mud and gravel from the river bottom, your shoulders straining. You lift it, water pouring from the weave, and begin to sift. You rock the basket back and forth, your entire body moving in a repetitive, hypnotic rhythm. The lighter mud and pebbles wash over the edge, clouding the water around your legs. You are looking for the heavy, fine, black particles that settle at the bottom. This is not a quick process. You will spend an entire day here, bent over, freezing, to gather a small pouch of this black sand. Your back is a single, solid knot of pain. Your hands are raw, the skin split in several places from the cold and the grit. You pause, straightening up just a few inches, and press a muddy hand to the small of your back. You look at the pile of black sand on a large leaf on the bank. It is tiny. It is barely enough to fill a small rice bowl. And this is the work of half a day. This sand is the very beginning of everything. It is the raw material from which the island's metal is born. It is not found in great solid chunks. It must be coaxed from the earth, grain by grain, by males like you. A female from your village, her face lined and her back bent from the same kind of labour, walks along the bank. She hands you a ball of cold, sticky rice. You nod your thanks, your throat too dry to speak. You eat it quickly, the bland, starchy taste filling your mouth. You dunk your hands back into the freezing water, the cold stinging your raw knuckles, and you scoop up another heavy load of mud. The sheer amount of labour required is staggering. You and the other males will move tons of riverbed to produce just one small cartload of satetsu. You are, in essence, a human filter, a cog in a machine that runs on muscle and endurance. You are not thinking about what this sand will become. You are not thinking about lords or castles. You are thinking about the way the wet, coarse cloth of your tunic chafes your skin. You are thinking about the deep, penetrating cold. You are thinking about how many more baskets you must sift before the light fails, and you are allowed to go home. At the end of the day, you and the other males haul your heavy, damp sacks of sand up the muddy bank. Your legs are shaking from the effort and the cold. You are paid for this. You are given a small portion of rice, just enough for your family for the night. You watch the cart, pulled by two massive oxen, slowly haul the dark, heavy sand away. You do not watch it go. You are already turning back toward your hut, your mind empty, your body screaming for rest. You have to do this all again tomorrow. Now you are in a different place. The air is not cold, it is blisteringly hot. You are a younger male, and you are standing before the Tatara, the great clay furnace. It is not a small smithy. It is a massive, oblong structure of hardened clay and brick, as long as 3 males lying end to end, and taller than any of them. It is a temporary, man-made volcano, and for the next 3 days, It is your entire world. You are part of a team, a small army of males whose only job is to feed this beast. You are a bellow worker. Your station is on a wooden platform next to the furnace. Below your feet are two enormous bag-like bellows, operated by your own body weight. You step on one, a great whoosh of air rushes into the furnace, and a cloud of bright orange sparks billows out. You shift your weight to the other foot. Whoosh. You step back. Whoosh. This is your rhythm. Step, shift, step, for hours. You're not alone. On the other side of the Tatara, another male is doing the same. A perfect, alternating rhythm that creates a constant, roaring river of air. The heat is unlike anything you have ever experienced. It is a physical wall. It sears your skin, dries your throat, and makes your eyes water. The air is thick with smoke and the sharp, acidic smell of burning charcoal. You are stripped to a simple loincloth, and your entire body is slick with sweat, which evaporates almost instantly. The roar of the furnace is constant, a deep, angry sound that you feel in your chest. The master smith, an older male with a face like dried leather, stands near the furnace, watching. He does not speak. He just watches the colour of the flames. This process will not stop for 3 days and 3 nights. You do not sleep. You work in shifts on the bellows, your legs turning to lead. When you are not on the bellows, you are hauling charcoal, massive straw baskets of it, which you dump into the top of the furnace. Or you are hauling the satetsu, the black sand you saw harvested from the river. You and other males form a human chain, passing buckets of the sand up to the top, pouring it into the white-hot mouth of the furnace. It's an almost religious feeling process. Before the lighting, there was a small ceremony, with the master smith chanting and placing small cuttings from a specific tree. But now, that is all gone. Now, there is only the labour. It is the worst kind of endurance test. Your eyes sting, your lungs are full of ash, and your legs are numb. You are just a human engine, a pump, keeping the heart of the furnace alive. This isn't just a job, it's a marathon of exhaustion. On the 3rd day, the master gives a shout. The bellows stop. The sudden silence is deafening, broken only by the crackle of the dying furnace. The process is over, but the work is not. Now, the Tatara must be broken. It was built to be destroyed. You and the other males take heavy wooden mallets and begin to smash the hardened clay walls. It's hot, brutal work. Steam and heat pour from the cracks. Finally, the wall breaks open, and you see it. At the bottom of the furnace lies the kira, the bloom. It is not a clean, shining ingot. It is a massive, spongy, ugly chunk of metal, a porous mass of iron, steel and slag, glowing a dull red. It weighs thousands of pounds. This is the fruit of 3 days of sleepless labour, tons of charcoal, and all that river sand. This is the raw material. It is dragged from the ruins of the furnace. And you, a younger male covered in soot and sweat, collapse onto the ground, your body completely spent. You have not even begun to make an object yet. You have only just made the stuff to make the object. Now you are in the smithy. The air is filled with a new kind of noise. Not the roar of the Tatara, but the sharp, rhythmic clang, clang, clang of a hammer. You are an apprentice, a younger male. You are not the master smith. Your job is to make the master's job possible. You stand beside the forge, a much smaller, open hearth. The master, a broad-shouldered male with arms as thick as tree limbs, pulls a small glowing chunk of metal from the charcoal. It is a piece of the kira, broken down. He places it on the anvil. He nods at you. That is your only command. You take your position, holding a heavy, long-handled sledgehammer. The master uses a small hammer, tapping the glowing metal in a quick rhythm. Tap, tap, tap. This is his language. He taps a spot. You swing your heavy sledge and strike that exact spot. Clang. He taps again. Clang. He taps in a different place. Clang. This is a dance, a duet of noise and force. You are the muscle. He is the mind. Your arms are on fire. The sledgehammer is heavy, and you must swing it with perfect accuracy, over and over. Sparks fly with every impact, stinging your bare chest and arms. You flinch, but you do not stop. The heat from the metal washes over your face. The master is folding the metal. He hammers it flat, folds it over, and hammers it again. And again. And again. This is the process of purifying the steel, of hammering out the impurities and creating the layers. The master says nothing. His concentration is absolute. His eyes are fixed on the glowing metal. You are just an extension of his will. You are close enough to smell the sour sweat and soot scent of him. You are close enough to see the way the muscles in his forearm bunch and knot. Your job is to hit, precisely, hundreds of times. Your shoulders scream. Your hands are slick with sweat on the wooden handle. You are terrified of making a mistake, of hitting the master's hand, or the anvil, or the metal at the wrong angle. This goes on for hours. You are just one of several apprentices. You work in rotation, one younger male stepping in as another, his arms shaking, steps away. This is not the elegant, lone genius of a swordsmith. This is a production line. This is a team of males, performing hot, dangerous, back-breaking labour to turn a spongy lump of iron into a workable folded billet of steel. The master will get the credit. You will get the sore muscles and the small burns that dot your arms. Later, the process changes. The master is now working on his own, hammering the billet into a long, thin, flat bar. This bar is then cooled. You are now at a different station. Your job is to cut this bar into small, rectangular plates. You use a heavy, sharp chisel and a hammer. You place the chisel on the cooled bar, and you strike it. Thwack. It makes a deep score. You do it again. Thwack. And again. Finally, the small piece breaks off. It is a single, small scale, about an inch long. The master armourer, the Kachashi, is not just one male. He's the head of a large workshop, a manager of specialists. You are one of those specialists. You are the plate maker. Your task for the next month is to make these plates. You need thousands of them. 2,000, 3,000. You lose count. You sit on a mat, your legs folded under you, and you just cut. Thwack. Thwack. Thwack asterisk. A small pile of metal plates grows beside you. This is the brutal reality of the armourer's life. It is not all fire and sparks. A great deal of it is cold, repetitive, mind-numbing piecework. Your hand is cramping. The joint of your thumb is swollen and red. Your ears ring from the constant sharp sound. You are making the kozane, the small scales that will form the body of the armour. Each one must be roughly the same size. Each one is a tiny, insignificant piece of a massive, complex puzzle. You are not a warrior. You are an artisan, and your status is far below that of the males who will wear your creations. You are a craftsman, but right now you feel like a machine. You look at the pile. It represents a full day's work. It is, perhaps, enough to cover a male's forearm. You sigh, the sound lost in the noise of the workshop, and you pick up the chisel again. You have so many more to make. The plates are cut, but they are not finished. You are now in a different part of the workshop. You are a male, and you are punching holes. You have one of the small metal scales and a sharp, pointed awl. You place the awl at the top of the plate and strike it with a small hammer. Tink. A small hole appears. Each kozane needs 13 holes. 13. in precise, specific locations. You pick up the next plate. Tink, tink, tink. And the next. Tink, tink, tink. This is your whole day. You sit in a room with 5 other males, and the only sound is the high-pitched, arrhythmic tinking of hammers on awls. The plates are sharp. You have small cuts all over your fingers. Your wrist aches from the repetitive motion. Your eyes are strained from focusing on the tiny, precise points. This is another form of mass production. It is a job of pure, unadulterated tedium. You are, quite frankly, bored. You are so bored that your mind feels like smooth, flat stone. You try to count the holes. You try to make rhythms with your hammer. Tink, 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 tink. The male next to you gives you a flat, annoyed look. You stop. You go back to the steady, maddening pace. This is the unseen foundation of the armor. Not magic, not myth, but thousands and thousands of tiny, perfectly punched holes made by a male with a very sore wrist and a profound sense of boredom. Once the plates are punched, they must be protected. You are now the lacquerer. This is perhaps the most dangerous job in the entire shop. You are not working in the bright, open forge or the noisy cutting room. You are working in a small, windowless hut in the back of the compound. It is dark, and it is damp. This is the muro, the drying room, and it smells. The air is thick with a sharp, acidic, and deeply unpleasant odour. It is the smell of urushi. You are a male with a thin, steady hand. In a small bowl, you have a thick, black, viscous liquid. It is the sap of a specific tree, a toxic substance. You are painting the small metal plates. You take one. Dip a fine brush made of human hair into the lacquer and paint a thin, even coat. The liquid is sticky and smells like a chemical. You place the wet plate on a wooden rack. You pick up the next one. The work is meticulous, but the brutal reality is the lacquer itself. The fumes sting your eyes and make your chest feel tight. Your hands and arms are covered in a red, weeping rash. The urushi is a powerful irritant, and you are constantly exposed to it. You have been told that some males simply cannot work with it. They swell up and cannot breathe. You are one of the lucky ones. You just have the constant rash and the tightness in your lungs. You are painting in the dim light of a single oil lamp. The lacquer must dry in a warm, humid, and completely dust-free environment. This hut is your world. You spend your days in the dark, breathing in these fumes, painting endless small black squares. And this is just the first coat. The armor will require 3, 4, maybe 5 coats. Each one must be painted, then left to cure for days in this damp, dark room. Then it must be polished with a fine charcoal powder before the next coat is applied. It is a slow, toxic, and delicate process. You are the guardian against the armor's greatest enemy. Not a sharp object, but the rain. Rust is the true foe. This black toxic paint is the only defense. You cough, a dry hacking sound, and you pick up the next plate. The rash on your arm itches, but you do not scratch it. You cannot afford to get dust on the wet lacquer. Your health is secondary to the finish. Now, the plates are black, glossy, and hard. They are ready to be assembled. This is where you come in. You are a female, and you are a lacer. You sit on a woven mat in a well-lit room with several other females. Your job is to weave the armor together. Your tools are not hammers or chisels. Your tools are a needle and a seemingly endless supply of brightly coloured silk cord. The cords are a vibrant blue, a deep orange, a stark white. They sit in neat coils in baskets around you. In your lap, you have a row of the small black lacquered plates. You are lacing them together. You thread the blue silk cord through the tiny holes, one by one, lacing them into a flexible, overlapping row. The work is incredibly intricate. The patterns are not random. You are following a specific design, a complex interlocking weave that is both strong and flexible. This is the odoshi. Your fingers are nimble, but they are also sore. The edges of the lacquered holes are sharp, and the silk thread is tough. Your fingertips are calloused, and you have several small cuts, but the greater strain is on your eyes. You are leaning close, your face just inches from the work, focusing on the tiny holes and the complex pattern. The light in the room is good, but after hours of this, your vision blurs. The other females in the room are all younger. You are one of the older ones, and you know your time at this job is limited. The room is quiet, filled only with the soft shh of the silk threads being pulled through the plates. The conversation is low and sparse. You are all concentrating. A single mistake in the pattern, one missed hole, one incorrect loop, means you must unthread the last hour of your work. The pressure to be perfect is immense. This is not just functional, it is decorative. The lacing is the most visible part of the armour, a statement of the owner's wealth and clan. You are, in essence, a weaver, but your loom is a set of hard plates and your thread is a stiff, thick cord. You're creating a kind of fabric, a textile of metal and silk. You pause to rub your eyes. They feel dry and sandy. You look at the sleeve of the armour you are assembling. It is a beautiful, intricate pattern of blue silk and black lacquer. It is also a monument to thousands of hours of repetitive, eye-straining labour. You take a sip of lukewarm tea and thread your needle again. The sleeve will not lace itself. Your role is different. You are not a plate maker or a lacer. You are a leather worker. You sit in a room that smells of curing hides, a thick animal and earth scent. Your job is to create the kote, the armoured sleeves, and the heidate, the thigh guards. These are not made entirely of metal plates. They are, at their base, garments. You are a tailor. You cut patterns from large, stiff sheets of smoked deerskin. The leather is tough, and your knife has to be kept perfectly sharp. You are working on a sleeve. It is a long, tube-like garment of thick, indigo-dyed hemp. Your job is to sew the foundation, but you are also attaching the metal. You sew small, individual plates, or sometimes chains of interlocking rings, onto the hemp backing. You are not using fine silk. You are using a thick, waxed thread and a large, strong needle. You have to force the needle through the tough hemp and the pre-drilled holes in the leather and metal. Your fingers are your main tool, and they are a mess. They are calloused, pricked, and stained with the blue dye. Your palms ache from pushing the needle. This is not delicate sewing. This is heavy-duty construction. You are building a complex, multi-layered garment designed to move with a male's arm. You have to understand how an elbow bends, how a shoulder twists. You are part artisan, part engineer. The shop is full of pieces. In one corner, a male is hammering rivets into a helmet bowl. In another, a female is painting a fine golden design on a set of lacquered shoulder guards. The master armourer is not one person. He is a conductor, and you are all his musicians. You are the leather section, and right now you are just trying to get this last metal plate to sit flat against the hemp. You pull the thread tight, your muscles straining. It's a small victory, one of 1,000 you will need to win today. Finally, after months of work by dozens of hands, the suit is complete. And this is when you come in. You are the master armourer, the Kachushi. You are the head of the workshop, the man whose name is associated with the final product. You are in the main room of your shop. It has been swept clean. Incense is burning to cover the smells of lacquer, sweat, and leather. The suit of armour is standing on a wooden frame. It is a masterpiece of black lacquer, blue silk, and dark leather. The paper screen door slides open. The customer has arrived. He is a samurai, a male from a high-ranking family. He does not walk alone. He is flanked by 2 attendants, males who stare blankly ahead. Your customer is not a grizzled, scarred warrior. He is a male with soft hands and a pale face. He is a bureaucrat, an administrator from the castle. Peace has been in place for a long time. This armor will never see a field of action. You bow. You bow so low your forehead almost touches the mat. You do not speak until you are spoken to. The samurai walks around the armor. He does not touch it. He just looks. He grunts. "The blue," he says. "It is a shade lighter than I requested." Your stomach clenches. You spent weeks negotiating the dye lot for that silk. "My apologies, Lord," you say to the floor. "The light in here is poor. Perhaps you would like to see it outside." "No," he says. "It will have to do." He begins the process of trying it on. This is the moment of truth. You and your most senior apprentice, a nervous older male, begin to dress him. It is a long, complicated process. First, the leggings, then the thigh guard, then the sleeves. The samurai grunts as you tie the silk cords. "It pinches," he says, moving his shoulder. "The coat is too tight on the forearm." You know for a fact that the sleeve is not too tight. You know that this male is simply unused to the feeling of wearing something heavier than a silk robe. "I will adjust it, Lord," you say. You are a craftsman, but today you are also a salesman and a tailor. You are fitting a very expensive, very heavy suit on a man who finds it uncomfortable. This is the brutal reality of your clientele. They are not warriors. They are status-conscious accountants. He stands, fully dressed. He is sweating. The heavy lacquered plates and thick silk do not breathe. He looks in a polished metal mirror. He turns. The plates make a dry, clacking sound. "It is heavy," he complains. You nod. "It is, Lord." As it should be. He is not paying you for comfort. He is paying you for the idea of protection. He is paying for the look. He is paying for the correct shade of blue silk lacing that matches his family's records. He finally agrees. He pays you, not in gold, but in koku, bales of rice, the same currency that pays for the sand sifters and the bellow workers. The transaction is done. He leaves, his attendants carrying the various pieces of the armor in large, lacquered boxes. You are left alone in your shop. You are exhausted. Not from the physical labor, but from the social maneuvering. You have created a functional, complex object for a male who will only wear it to a ceremony. You sigh and go to the back room to yell at the silk dyer. But what happens to the armor after the ceremony? You are now a younger male, a low-ranking attendant in a great lord's castle. Your domain is the Bugugura, the armory. It is not a grand hall. It is a long, dark and cold storehouse. The air smells of wood, dust, and faintly of lamp oil. And this is where the armor lives. Your job is not to wear it. Your job is to maintain it. Lined up in the darkness are dozens of wooden frames. On each frame stands an empty suit of armor. They are silent, dark shapes, their lacquered surfaces gleaming dully in the light from your small lamp. They look like a hollow army, waiting for a command that will never come. Your job is to fight the armor's true enemy, time. You are fighting mildew, rust, and insects. You take a soft, dry cloth and you dust. You dust the helmet. You dust the shoulder guards. You check the silk lacing for any signs of fraying, or, even worse, the telltale tracks of a silverfish. If you find one, you must painstakingly unlace that entire section, clean it, and have it relaced. It is a nightmare. Your master, an older male who has been doing this for 40 years, is obsessively clean. Your other task is the metal. You have a small pot of oil. You dip a cloth in it, and you gently, carefully, wipe down every exposed metal surface. The mask, the helmet bowl, the small chains. The oil prevents rust. It has a faint, nutty smell. You spend your entire day in the quiet, cold company of these empty shells. It's a job of endless, gentle, repetitive motion. You are, in essence, a curator. You are the caretaker for a collection of very expensive, very heavy clothes that no one ever wears. Some of these suits have not left this room in a generation. They were commissioned, worn once for a ceremony, and then given to you, the attendant, to protect from the damp. The brutal reality of this glorious armour is that it spends most of its life in a dark room, being quietly wiped down by a bored younger male. You sometimes stand in front of a particularly impressive suit, one with deep blue lacing and a fierce-looking mask. You look at the thousands of tiny scales, the miles of silk cord, the glossy black lacquer. You are in awe of the work, the sheer number of hours that went into its creation. You can smell the faint trace of the lacquer. You can feel the weight of it, even though you're not allowed to touch it without your cloth. It is a monument to an army of craftsmen, and your job is to make sure that monument does not get dusty. And now centuries have passed. You are in a different room. It is very quiet, and the air is perfectly still and climate controlled. The light is low, coming from small, precise spots on the ceiling. You are standing in front of a tall, clear case. Inside, standing on a simple frame, is a suit of armour. It is deep, glossy black, with laces of bright orange. It is perfect. It is flawless. It rests here, an object of art. There is a small, neat square of paper next to the case. You cannot read it, as per our rules, but you know it lists a date, a clan, perhaps the name of the famous lord who once owned it. It is presented as the singular creation of a culture, a symbol of a warrior's spirit. But you see it differently. You are here, in this calm, silent room, but you can smell the river mud. You can feel the searing heat of the tatara on your face. You can hear the deafening, endless clang of the sledgehammer. You feel the cramp in your hand from cutting thousands of tiny, identical plates. You can taste the toxic, acidic fumes of the lacquer hut. You feel the ache in your eyes from threading the silk and the sting of the needle in your fingers. The object in the case is silent. It does not tell the story of the dozens of males and females who built it, their rashes, their backaches, their failing eyesight. All of that is gone. All that remains is the beautiful, terrible, perfect object. It has outlived its makers. It has outlived the male who complained that it was too heavy. It has become a pristine, hollow shell, its true, brutal and human history polished away, leaving only the legend. The silent scribes of the Heian court. We have this idea that golden ages in history must have been amazing places to live. We picture these shining moments of human achievement, full of art and philosophy, and everyone walking around in elegant clothes, composing poetry. We think of them as the peak. But the truth is, a golden age is often just a very small bubble of wealth, floating on top of a whole lot of hardship. And even inside that bubble, the daily reality wasn't inspiring. It was often just uncomfortable and incredibly, profoundly boring. We're going to peel back the layers of silk, push aside the painted screens, and look past the poetry. We're going to find the cold, quiet, and suffocating reality of one of history's most celebrated golden ages. We are looking for the silent scribes of the Heian court. You are cold. That is the first thing you register every single morning. You are a female, a nyobo, a lady-in-waiting at the Heian Palace. You are kneeling on a thin straw mat, a tatami. The floor is dark, polished wood, and the cold seeps up through the mat, through your thin underrobe, and into your bones. The walls of your room are not stone. They are paper, stretched on wooden frames. You can hear the wind outside, a thin, high-pitched whistle. It is hours before dawn. A single flickering lamp, an anden, does very little to warm the room. It casts a weak, oily light, and smells like burning fish. An attendant, a lower-ranking female with rough hands and a tired face, enters. She bows. It is time to get dressed. This is not a simple process. It is a construction. You stand, and the attendant holds up the first layer. A white, silk kosodu. It is not clean. It has the faint, sour smell of a garment that has been worn for many days, and aired out rather than washed. Bathing is a rare, ritualistic event. You slip it on. The silk is cold against your skin. Then the next layer, and the next. These are the robes, the junihito. It is not in fact 12 layers. It can be anywhere from 5 to 20. Today it is 8. Each one is a different shade, a different colour, precisely chosen to match the season, your rank and the mood of the day. A pale green, a deep red, a light yellow, a dark lavender. Each layer is heavy, made of thick woven silk. The attendant pulls them straight, one on top of the other, each cuff precisely offset from the one beneath it, creating a rainbow of fabric at your wrists and neck. The weight is immense. It settles on your shoulders, a physical, crushing burden. You are now wearing a solid, heavy mass of silk. It is not designed for movement. It is designed for stillness. It is designed to turn you into a beautiful, immobile object. You are a piece of living furniture. The good news is, you look like a very expensive, very well-wrapped present. The bad news is, you can barely move. Walking isn't really on the agenda. It's more of a dignified, exhausting shuffle. Now, your face. The attendant brings a small porcelain pot. It contains oshiroi, a thick white paste. It is made from rice powder, but the most expensive kind, the kind you use, is also mixed with lead. It has a faint, metallic, sweet smell. The attendant takes a flat stick and begins to apply it to your face, your neck, your ears. It is cold and sticky. She cakes it on, smoothing it out until your entire upper body is a perfect, flat, white mask. Your skin underneath already begins to itch. Next, your eyebrows. The attendant takes a small, sharp tool. She begins to pluck your natural eyebrows, one hair at a time. You do not flinch. You do not move. You stare at a spot on the paper wall. After all the hairs are gone, she takes a stick of charcoal ink. She dips it and paints 2 new, dark smudges high up on your forehead, near your hairline. They look like small, dark clouds. This is beauty. Finally, your teeth. You are given a small bowl. The liquid inside is dark, thick, and repulsive. It is ohaguro. It is a dye made from iron filings dissolved in vinegar and tea. It smells sour and metallic. You take a mouthful. You swish it, coating every tooth. You spit the excess into a bowl. The taste is acidic and bitter. You do this every few days. Your teeth are now a uniform, shiny black. A smile that shows white teeth is considered animalistic, vulgar. Your black lacquered mouth is the height of sophistication. The attendant bows. You are finished. You are a perfect, painted, layered work of art. You are also incredibly uncomfortable. Your shoulders ache from the weight. Your face is a stiff, itchy mask. A bitter taste fills your mouth. You shuffle over to your prescribed spot in the room, kneel down, and arrange your heavy sleeves in a perfect fan around you. And you wait. The sun has not yet risen. There is nothing to do. The boredom is a physical presence, as heavy and as cold as the wooden floor beneath you. You are summoned. A high-ranking courtier, a male, is visiting this wing of the palace. You must receive him. You begin the long, slow, rustling shuffle from your room. Your heavy silk robes drag on the floor, making a sound like a pile of dry leaves. The wooden corridors are dark and cold. Your bare feet are numb on the polished planks. Other females are also moving, rustling from their own small rooms. You are a collection of whispering, shuffling shapes in the gloom. You enter a larger room. You do not enter it fully. You and the other females file into a space behind a kicho, a screen of state. It is a tall wooden frame, draped with thick, opaque silk curtains. You settle onto your knees, your 8 layers of robes fanning out. You are now sitting behind a curtain. You can see nothing of the main room. You are completely hidden. This is proper. A male of non-family relation must never, ever see your face. You hear the male courtier arrive on the veranda outside the room. You hear his footsteps. You hear the rustle of his own stiff silk robes. He does not enter the room. He sits on the other side of the wall, on the veranda, looking into the room. He can see the screens, the kicho, behind which you are hiding. He cannot see you. This is the setting for a high-stakes social interaction. You can smell him. The air in the palace is always thick with perfume. Everyone, male and female, is a walking cloud of incense. Your own robes are steeped in it, a sweet floral scent. His is different. It is a heavy, spicy, woody scent. It is his own personal secret blend. He clears his throat. He speaks. He does not speak to you. He speaks at the screen. He makes a comment about the quality of the moonlight on the gravel garden last night. You do not speak. A much older female, your superior, who is sitting near the screen, makes a polite, non-committal sound. The male then asks a question. He has heard there are new attendants. He is curious. He would like to know who is present, but he cannot ask to see you. So, the ritual begins. The older female instructs you. Show your sleeves. You and the other females shuffle forward on your knees until you are right against the screen. Then, you reach down and you push the cuffs of your sleeves under the silk curtain. That is all, just the edge of your 8 multicolored layers. Your hands, your arms, your face, all remain hidden. The room is now a display of disembodied cuffs, lying on the floor. The male on the other side of the wall is silent. He is judging. He is looking at your colour combinations, your choice of pale green, red and yellow. He is analysing what it says about your taste, your refinement, your education. This is essentially the Heian era version of a job interview, a first date and a fashion show, all rolled into one. And the only part of your resume they get to see is your cuff. No pressure. He makes a comment. Ah, the plum blossom under the fading snow. A very aware combination. He's referring to your robes. This is a high compliment. He has approved of your taste. You feel a small hot flush rise on your neck, but your white paste face shows nothing. You do not smile. Then he is silent for a moment. He is looking at the sleeves of the female next to you, a combination of a sharp blue and a dark purple. He says nothing. He simply moves on, making another comment about the weather. It is a social execution. The female with the blue and purple sleeves has failed. Her taste is wrong. She has brought shame on her family. She is now being subtly ignored by the other females. The male speaks for a few more minutes, saying nothing of substance, all in a high, formal monotone. Then he excuses himself. You hear his robes rustle as he stands and walks away. The conversation is over. You have survived. You pull your sleeves back from under the curtain. The female next to you is shaking, very slightly. Her social standing has just collapsed. You rise and begin the long, heavy, rustling shuffle back to your cold, empty room. It is night. This is the only time you are truly alone. Your attendant, a younger female, is asleep on a mat in the corner. The palace is quiet, or rather, it is filled with the small, secret sounds of an old wooden building, the creak of a floorboard, the skittering of some small animal in the ceiling, the sigh of the wind against the paper walls. The oily lamp casts a small, trembling circle of light. You are surrounded by darkness. You shuffle to the corner of your small room and slide open a low wooden cabinet. You pull out a small, exquisite box made of black, shining lacquer. You open it. This is your other life. This is your real world. Inside are not silks or perfumes. Inside are your tools. You lay them out. A suzerain, a heavy flat stone, black and smooth, with a small well at one end. A sumi, a solid stick of dried ink, hard as a rock, and smelling faintly of pine soot and glue. A small bronze water dropper. A feud, a brush, with a handle of smooth, dark bamboo, and a fine, pointed tip made of soft animal hair. And paper. Not a book. A long scroll of pale, creamy paper, rolled up. You use the water dropper to place a few drops of clear water into the well of the inkstone. You pick up the black ink stick. You begin to grind it, a slow, steady, circular motion in the pool of water. The sound is a quiet, rhythmic shh, shh, shh. It is the only sound in the room. You watch as the water slowly thickens, turning from grey to a deep, rich, wet black. The smell of the ink rises, earthy and sharp. It cuts through the cloying sweetness of the old incense in your robes. You grind for a long time. This is part of the process. It is a slow, physical meditation. When the ink is as dark and thick as oil, you stop. You pick up the brush. You roll the tip gently in the black pool, saturating the hairs. You lift it, twirling it to a perfect sharp point. You unroll the paper scroll. It crackles, a dry, stiff sound. You hold the brush poised just above the paper. You are not a fashion doll. You are not a political pawn. You are not a bundle of silent sleeves. In this moment, you are a hand, holding a brush. You are an eye, remembering. You touch the brush to the paper. A dark, wet mark appears. A perfect black shape. You make another, and another. You are not writing your feelings. That would be vulgar. You are describing. You are a witness. You make a series of complex, rapid marks that describe the precise, ridiculous angle of the male courtier's hat. You make marks that describe the exact shade of the wrong purple sleeve of the female next to you. You make marks describing the sour taste of the tooth-blacking dye, and the way that older attendant's voice cracks on a high note. You are, in modern terms, writing a burn book. A very, very high-class, elegantly brushed burn book. This isn't for posterity. It's not for literature. It's because you are so incredibly, mind-numbingly bored and constrained that if you don't put these observations somewhere, you might just start chewing on the wooden walls. The brush flies across the paper, a silent black dance. This is your only action. This is your only power. You are not a scribe. You are a secret keeper. The next morning, your scroll is gone. You feel a lurch, a cold drop in your stomach. But you do not panic. You do not search. You show nothing on your white painted face. You know where it is. There is no such thing as privacy in the Heian court. You perform your morning rituals. You have your face replastered. You are reconstructed into your 8 layers of silk. Then you shuffle, slowly, to the chambers of another female. She is your rival, another Nyobo. She is of a slightly higher rank than you. You bow at her screen. You are admitted. You enter her room. It is larger than yours, and she is not alone. 2 other females are with her. They are all kneeling on the floor, and there, unrolled between them, is your scroll. They are looking at your dark marks. One of them points to a section, your description of the courtier's hat. She covers her black-toothed mouth with her sleeve and makes a small, sharp sound, a laugh. This is the brutal reality of being a scribe. Your journal is not a private sanctuary, it is public entertainment. Writing is not a solitary act of expression, it is a social act of gossip. Your deepest, most private observations are, in fact, a commodity. Your rival, the female, looks up at you. She does not apologize. She does not look ashamed. She smiles, a flash of black teeth against her white face. She praises you. She compliments your brushwork. She says your observations are amusing. This is both a compliment and a threat. She owns your thoughts now. Worse, a male attendant is summoned. A low-ranking clerk, a male who is allowed in these chambers to run errands. The female rolls up your scroll, and she gives it to him. He bows, takes the scroll, and leaves. You know what is happening. He is taking it to the Kurodo, the Chamberlain's office. He is going to copy it, by hand. Congratulations, you've just gone viral, Heian style. Your latest blog post has been picked up by the court's biggest influencers, and it's about to be the main topic of conversation. The male courtier you mocked will see it. The female whose sleeves you insulted will see it. Your one private act of rebellion is now your public, unpaid, and very dangerous day job. You are now a person of interest. Other females will be colder to you, or they will try to be your friend. Males, the courtiers, will begin to send you gifts. They are not encouraging your art. They are paying for more content. They will send you a piece of rare, coloured paper. They will send you a stick of expensive, imported incense. They are, in effect, subscribing to your gossip column. You are now trapped. You must keep writing. You must keep observing. Your silence is no longer an option. It is the middle of the night. You are woken by a sound. It is not a creak. It is not the wind. It is a shriek, a loud, piercing cry. It is a bird, an owl, and it is on the roof of your building, right above your head. This is not a charming wildlife moment. This is a catastrophe. An owl hooting at this hour is a terrible omen. It means a spirit, a mononoke, is present. It is a sign of displeasure from the other world. The palace, usually so quiet, erupts. Not in screams, but in frantic, hushed, fearful activity. Female attendants are running, their bare feet slapping on the cold, dark wooden floors. They are lighting every lamp. They are burning herbs, foul-smelling, acrid plants, to purify the air. The usual cloying smell of sweet incense is replaced by a choking, bitter smoke. You can hear an older female, your superior, whispering in a high, tight voice. She is blaming the new attendant, the female with the wrong sleeves. She must have attracted the spirit with her poor taste. The logic is, in its own way, flawless. You are all herded into the main hall of your wing. You are all kneeling, shoulder to shoulder, a mass of layered silk and white, frightened faces. You are all positioned to face a lucky direction. You must not, under any circumstances, face the unlucky direction from which the hoot came. You must not speak. You must not look around. You must simply kneel and wait. This is the refined, elegant golden age, and everyone is currently terrified into paralysis by a bird. No one is writing a poem about this. They're all too busy trying to remember which direction is the double unlucky one this month, so they don't accidentally walk into it and have your fingernails fall off. This is not refined spirituality. This is raw, primitive, and paralyzing fear of the dark. A male is summoned, an onmyoji, a diviner. He's the master of yin and yang, a spiritual specialist. He arrives, dressed in tall black robes and a stiff pointed hat. He carries a polished wooden staff. He is not a priest. He is a spiritual exterminator. He enters the hall. He too is facing the correct direction. He begins to chant. The chant is a low, nasal, monotonous drone. It goes on and on. He walks around the building, striking the wooden support posts with his staff. Thwack, thwack. He rings a small, harsh-sounding bell. He throws handfuls of salt into the corners. This continues for hours. You are still kneeling. You have not moved. Your knees are screaming. Your back, under the 8 layers of silk, is a single solid column of pain. Your feet are numb, but you do not move. You do not faint. To show weakness would be to invite the spirit into you. The brutal reality of your world is that it is not run by art or philosophy. It is run by a complex, invisible and terrifying rulebook of omens, spirits and lucky directions. You are promoted. Your writing, your circulated observations has made you famous within the tiny, stifling bubble of the court. You are now a personal attendant to the Empress herself. This is the highest, most prestigious position a female like you can attain. You enter her chambers. They are not a room. They are a vast hall. The ceilings are high and dark. The wooden floors are polished to a black mirror. It is cold. Even with dozens of lamps, the corners are lost in shadow. And in the very centre, on a raised dais, surrounded by screens, is the Empress. She is a very young female. She was brought to court a year ago. Her father, a powerful male from the Fujiwara clan, arranged her marriage to the Emperor, a male who is also very young and who she rarely sees. Her entire existence, her whole purpose for being, is to produce a male heir. If she succeeds, her father's clan will continue to rule the country. If she fails, or produces only younger females, she will be set aside, and her family will lose power. She is a small, still figure, swallowed by her own enormous 20-layer robes. She is a sea of dark red and purple silk. Her face is a perfect white mask. She is surrounded by a dozen other high-ranking females, all kneeling, all silent. They are watching her. They are watching her breathe. Your job is not to be her friend. Your job is to manage her mood. You are an entertainer, a distraction, a human sedative. You are brought in to tell a story, not one of your stories. They are too sharp, too real. You are to tell a safe story, a monogatari, a tale about a farmer who finds a glowing magical creature in a bamboo stalk. You kneel at a respectful distance. You bow your head. You begin to speak. Your voice is a low, careful monotone. You tell the story. The Empress does not move. She does not look at you. She stares at a single spot on the wooden floor. She is a living, breathing, priceless doll. She has not been outside in months. The sun, the wind, a bad noise, all are considered threats to the potential heir. After the story, you are instructed to play an instrument. You are essentially a human television, but with a very limited selection of programming. And the only viewer is a very, very important hostage who isn't really allowed to change the channel. You retrieve a koto, a long-stringed instrument, and lay it on the floor. You kneel and begin to pluck the strings with picks on your fingers. The sound is thin and high. It sounds like dripping water in a cave. The notes hang in the vast, cold, empty air of the hall. An older female, the Empress's chief attendant, watches your hands. She is judging your performance. The Empress herself seems to hear nothing. She is just a still, white-faced object. This is the pinnacle of female power in the Heian court. It is a state of absolute, profound and gilded isolation, where your only function is biological. Let's talk about the smell. We imagine this world smells of cherry blossoms and rare, imported incense. And it does. But that is only because those strong scents are needed to mask all the other smells. The dominant smell is unwashed bodies. Bathing is a complex, ritualistic and very rare event. You are wearing 8, 10, 12 layers of silk. You sweat in them. Every day. The silks are not washed. They are aired out. They are purified with incense smoke. But under the perfume, there is the sour, stale, human smell of old sweat. The palace is full of hundreds of people, all masking their body odour with perfume. The air is thick, cloying, and heavy. Now, let's talk about your face, the white paste, the oshiroi. You have been wearing it every day, all day, for 10 years. It is night. You're in your room. You are finally taking it off. You use a rough cloth and a pot of oil. You wipe. The paste comes off in grey, sticky, chalky clumps. You look at your reflection. The only mirror you have is a round bronze disc, polished to a high shine. It reflects a dark, warped, murky image. You hold the oily lamp close. Your real face is not good. The skin is no longer smooth. It is grey. It is pitted with sores. Around your nose and mouth, there are red weeping patches. The lead in the makeup is poisoning you slowly, day by day. And your teeth. The black ohaguro lacquer is, supposedly, to protect them, but the acidic mixture has eaten away at your gums. They are receding. You have a constant dull, throbbing ache in your jaw. When you smile, your black-toothed smile, your gums are red and swollen. This is the height of fashion. A beauty routine that requires you to slowly poison yourself with heavy metals and coat your teeth in a sour iron slurry. It's amazing what people will do to be considered sophisticated. It really makes you wonder what people 1,000 years from now will say about our ideas of beauty. Look at the older female attendant, the one who bosses you around. She is perhaps 40 years old. She looks 60. Her real hair is thin and patchy. She wears a long, heavy, false hairpiece. Her face, when she removes her own makeup, is a mask of grey, cracked skin and dark spots. Her black-toothed smile is sunken. This is your future. This is the physical price of a life at court. You are not aging gracefully. You are in a slow, elegant and very well-perfumed state of physical decay. The brutal reality is that this lifestyle, this golden age, is physically toxic. You are in an ox cart. This is the only way you are allowed to travel outside the palace walls. You are on a pilgrimage to a temple just outside the city. The ox cart is not a luxury vehicle. It is a wooden box set on 2 enormous wooden wheels. It is pulled by a single, very large, very slow ox. You are inside the box. There are no windows. There are only small, slatted openings, and even those are covered by silk blinds. You are not meant to see the world. The world is not meant to see you. You are once again a piece of cargo. The ride is awful. The wooden wheels have no suspension. The road is not paved. It is hard, rutted earth. Every bump, every rock sends a painful jolt through the floor. Your body is knocked against the wooden wall. Your 12 layers of silk offer zero padding. The cart smells of old wood, damp, and the faint, musky smell of the ox. You are bored. You are always bored. You lean forward, and you peek through a tiny gap in the blind. You see the city, Heian. It is not a golden, elegant place. The road is mud. Thick, deep, wet mud. On the side of the road, a male, a commoner, is trying to pull a small, 2-wheeled cart, stacked high with firewood. He is covered in mud up to his knees. His face is streaked with sweat. He is wearing a single tattered brown robe made of rough hemp. He is straining, his muscles bunched. You see a female walking by the side of the road. She's carrying a heavy wooden bucket of water on her head. She's not wearing white makeup. Her face is brown and cracked from the sun. Her teeth. You see her call out to the male. Her teeth are white. She looks strong. She looks at your fancy, lacquered, suffocating box as it lurches past. Her expression is flat, hard, and unreadable. You pass a hovel, a one-room hut made of unpainted warped wood with a roof of straw. It is tiny, but you smell something. You smell food, real food. You smell wood smoke and the sharp, savoury smell of grilling fish. In the palace, your food is a work of art. It is served cold. It is tiny, sculpted portions of vinegared rice, pickled vegetables, and pale, steamed fish. It is all about appearance. You are always hungry. That grilling fish, it smells real. You are in the top 0.1% of society. You are a winner of the Heian lottery. And you are currently sitting in a dark, bumpy wooden box, slowly being poisoned by your own makeup. And you are fantasizing about a piece of fish being cooked in a mud hut. It really makes you appreciate the perks of high society. A hand, your attendant, reaches over and firmly pulls the blind shut. You are not supposed to look. The world outside is vulgar. It is dirty. It is real. Your world feels permanent, this bubble of perfume and rules and silk and superstition. It has been this way for hundreds of years. You are an older female now. You have survived. Your skin is ruined. Your jaw aches. You are now the high-ranking attendant. You are the one who judges the sleeves of the new, younger females. You are the one who tells the stories to the new, young, silent empress. But things are changing. You hear sounds from outside the palace walls, not just the sounds of the city. You hear marching, the distant, rhythmic, heavy sound of many, many feet walking in unison. You hear the nicker of horses. The males at court, the elegant, pale-faced courtiers, are nervous. Their perfumes are stronger, more frantic. Their whispered conversations behind their fans are faster. They are not talking about poetry. They are not talking about sleeve combinations. They are talking about land and rice and provinces. A new kind of male is appearing at court. He does not arrive in a slow ox cart. He arrives on a horse. He is not pale. He is tan, his face weathered by the sun and wind. His hands are not soft and smooth. They are rough, the knuckles large. He does not wear 12 layers of delicate-coloured silk. He wears practical dark robes. He moves with a different energy, a heavy, grounded physical energy. He is a bushi, a warrior, a samurai. He has come from the provinces. He is not here to judge your incense blend. He is here because he controls the rice fields. He controls the real world, the world of mud and fish that you are not allowed to see. The elegant, centuries-long party is finally having the cops called on it. And the cops are a new class of grumpy, practical males who don't care about your sleeve-matching game. They are here to talk about who actually owns the building. This new warrior male walks through the hall. He does not avert his gaze. He does not hide behind a screen. He looks at the females. He stares directly at you. His gaze is not appreciative. It is appraising, like a farmer looking at livestock. It is shocking. It is terrifying. Your world is based on not seeing. It is based on hints and screens and hidden meanings, and judging a person by a sliver of cloth. His world is based on seeing, on land and followers and harvests and direct physical control. You go back to your room. It is night. You pull out your inkstone. You grind the ink. The shh, shh, shh is a comforting, familiar sound in a world that is suddenly loud and strange. You unroll a fresh scroll of paper. You dip your brush. You begin to make marks. You are describing this new, rough, sun-browned male. You are describing the way he stared. You are describing the new kind of fear in the air. A fear that is not of ghosts, but of real, solid men. Your world, this golden, suffocating cage, is dissolving. The brutal reality is that your art, your gossip, your entire world of aesthetics was only possible because it was protected by an illusion. And the real world is now at the gate, and it is about to tear all your paper screens down. The Heian court is remembered as a golden age of art and literature. We treasure the works that came from it, the diaries, the poems, the world's first novel. But this art was not a product of a golden age. It was a reaction to a suffocating one. It was the work of the silent scribes. It was the outlet for intelligent, educated, and ambitious females who were trapped in a system that denied them all agency, all freedom, and all sight. A system that turned them into painted, immobile dolls. A world so constrained, so obsessed with surfaces, and so profoundly, mind-numbingly boring, that the only possible act of rebellion was to observe. To pick up a brush, and in the dark, make marks on a page. To secretly and silently record the profound, absurd, and brutal reality of their gilded cages. The code of Bushido and honor. We are all fascinated by the idea of a code, a set of rules to live by that promises to make us better, stronger, more focused. We love stories of groups who lived by a strict, unbending set of ideals, a code of honor, a warrior's path. It gives a sense of order to the past, a kind of moral clarity that feels very, very clean. But history, as you know, is almost never clean. The brutal reality is that for most people, the only code that mattered was the one that helped them survive until the next sunrise. Tonight, we are going to look past the legends. We are going to explore the vast, cold, and often contradictory gap between the romanticized idea of the samurai and the brutal, pragmatic reality of the code of Bushido and honor. Your world is made of mud and rice. You are a male, a farmer, and you are bent at the waist, your back a permanent, aching curve. You are standing in a flooded paddy, the cold water seeping into the rough spun cloth wrapped around your legs. It is early morning, but you have been here for hours, ever since the sky was a pale, flat grey. Your hands are submerged in the muck, feeling for the roots of the new rice shoots, pushing them one by one into the thick, dark slurry. The smell is overwhelming, a mix of wet earth, animal manure, and the sour scent of standing water. This is your entire existence. Your muscles ache, not a sharp pain, but a deep, constant throb that lives in your lower back and your shoulders. You pause for a moment, straightening up just a few inches to ease the pressure. You look across the fields. They stretch out in every direction, a patchwork of flooded squares separated by narrow, muddy ridges. In the distance, you can see other figures, other males and females, bent at the same angle, performing the same repetitive motion. No one speaks. Their only sounds are the squelch of mud and the distant call of a bird. Your life is governed by the sun and the rain. Your focus is singular. This rice is not yours. It belongs to someone else. You are thinking about the tax. The tax is not an abstract idea. It is a physical dread that sits in your stomach. Soon a male will come from the town. He will be clean. He will be wearing layers of silk. He will not be wearing the simple straw sandals that you have, but wooden platforms that keep his feet elevated from the ground. He will carry a ledger, a stack of bound papers, and a counting tool. He will be followed by other males in simple armour, made of lacquered plates, carrying long, thick wooden staffs. They will come to your village, and they will measure the rice. They will take half, sometimes they take more. They take the best rice, leaving you and your family with the broken grains and the chaff. You have seen this happen every year of your life. You have seen your neighbours, gaunt-faced and thin, hand over the heavy straw bales, their hands shaking. You know that the amount of rice you are left with must last you until the next harvest. You know that it will not be enough. The feeling of hunger is a familiar companion, a dull ache that sharpens in the cold months. This is the foundation of the entire system. This is the secret that fuels the entire warrior class. They do not grow food. They do not make goods. They exist because you exist, bent over in the mud. The epic poems and the grand stories of honour are all built on the grains of rice you are pushing into the earth, grains that you will likely never get to eat. This isn't heroism, it's just accounting, and you are on the wrong side of the ledger. Suddenly you hear a sound from the road. It's the clack, clack, clack of the wooden sandals on the hard-packed earth. Your head snaps up. A male is approaching. He is from the samurai class. You know this instantly. You know it from the way he walks. A slow, deliberate pace that owns the ground he moves on. You know it from the layers of dark silk he wears, and the way his hair is oiled and tied in a knot on the top of his shaved head. He is not looking at you. He is looking straight ahead, his expression flat and unmoving. Your stomach tightens. You do not wait. You immediately drop from your bent position onto your hands and knees, and then you press your entire body flat onto the muddy ridge. Your face is pressed into the wet earth. The smell of the mud fills your nostrils. You do not look up. You do not breathe. You simply lie there, a bundle of wet rags and fear, making yourself as small and as insignificant as possible. This is the rule. This is Kiri Suit Gomen, the right to cut and leave. Of course, you don't know its formal name. You only know the reality. You know that this male, by virtue of his birth, has the right to end your life for any perceived slight. A glance that lingers too long. A failure to show the proper respect. A simple, inconvenient presence in his path. Your life is a privilege, not a right, and it is his to revoke. You are not a person to him. You are part of the landscape, like a tree or a rock, and you are expected to behave as such. The clacking sound stops. It stops right beside your head. You can hear the faint rustle of his silk robes. You can smell the faint, clean scent of the incense he burns in his home, a smell that cuts through the odour of the paddy. He is standing there, silent. You feel a single drop of sweat, cold, trace a path down your temple, mixing with the mud on your cheek. Your heart is a drum against your ribs. You keep your eyes squeezed shut. The silence stretches. It lasts for 1 second, 5 seconds, 10. It feels like an entire lifetime. You are waiting for a shout, for a kick, for the sharp, sudden end. Then the clacking sound resumes. Clack, clack, clack. It moves away from you, down the road, growing fainter. You do not move. You stay pressed to the earth for a long time, long after the sound is gone. You wait until you are absolutely certain he is gone. Only then do you slowly, painfully push yourself up. You are shaking. Your hands are slick with mud. You look down the road. He is just a dark shape in the distance. He never once looked back. You take a shuddering breath. You turn, step back into the cold water of the paddy, and bend your back into that familiar, aching curve. you have rice to plant. Now you are in a different time. This is the Sengoku Jidai, the age of warring states. This is the era of constant conflict, the period that all the codes are supposedly based on. You are a samurai, a captain in your lord's small army. Your lord is a minor player, stuck between two much larger, more powerful warlords who are slowly crushing his lands between them. Your lord has declared his loyalty to the warlord to the east. You have sworn your oaths to your lord. Your loyalty is, theoretically, absolute. You are in the castle courtyard. It is raining, a cold, miserable drizzle. You are overseeing the younger males practicing with their heavy staffs. You see your lord's chief advisor, an older male, walking quickly across the courtyard with another captain. They are speaking in low, urgent tones. They do not look at you. They disappear into the main keep. This, by itself, is not unusual, but you feel a cold knot in your stomach. Later that night, you are in the barracks. You are on duty, walking the wooden veranda that overlooks the inner walls. You hear a sound. A single horse, its hooves muffled by straw wrappings, moving quietly, leaving the castle by the south gate. This is the gate that faces the other warlord, the one to the west, the enemy. You look through a slit in the wall. You see a single rider, a silhouette against the dark, disappearing into the woods. A messenger. The code of loyalty was a beautiful idea, but the reality of the warring period was a chaotic, desperate scramble for survival. Betrayal was not a shocking exception. It was the standard operating procedure. Loyalty was a commodity. It was traded, bought, and sold. A samurai's honor was often a thin veneer over a very practical and very human desire to be on the winning side. You lie on your mat, but you do not sleep. Your mind is racing. The messenger to the west can only mean one thing. Your lord is planning to switch his allegiance. He is going to betray the eastern warlord. This is a dangerous game. If he succeeds, he will be rewarded with new lands and titles. If he fails, if the eastern warlord finds out, or if the western warlord rejects his offer, you will all be destroyed. But your problem is more immediate. The captain you saw the advisor with, he is your rival. He has always disliked you. If this betrayal is successful, he will be in a position of power. You will be pushed aside. But what if you betray your lord first? What if you send your own messenger tonight to the eastern warlord, warning him of your lord's treachery? The eastern warlord would be grateful. He would reward you. He might even make you the lord of this castle. You are sweating, though the room is cold. This is the true dark secret. The age of wars was not an age of honor. It was an age of paranoia. It was a dizzying web of betrayals, counter-betrayals, and desperate gambles. The samurai were not noble automata, programmed for loyalty. They were ambitious, frightened, and pragmatic males, trying to navigate a world where the wrong allegiance, held for a single day too long, meant the end of everything. Your code is a luxury you cannot afford. Your only real loyalty is to your own survival. Let's see this loyalty from another angle. You are a female attendant in that same castle. 2 days have passed since the secret messenger. The betrayal was swift and bloodless. The gates were opened in the night. The eastern warlord's men are gone. The western warlord's men are now here. Your old lord is gone. The new lord, the betrayer, is now in charge. The coloured cloths hanging in the great hall, the ones with the crest of the old family, have been taken down. New ones, with a different pattern, are already hanging in their place. Your code is different. It is one of absolute invisibility. You are in the main hall. It is early morning. You are on your knees, your hands on the wooden floor. You are serving tea. You slide the small, dark brown ceramic cup across the tatami mat. It stops perfectly in front of the new lord. He is a large male, speaking in a low voice to his captains. You do not look at his face. You look only at the floor, at the cup, at his knees. Yesterday you served tea to a different male in this exact spot. Your loyalty is to this room, to this function. Your survival depends on you being as unnoteworthy as a post, as a floorboard. You are a piece of the castle's furniture. The males around you are the ones who speak of honour and allegiance. For you, it is simply a change in management. You must show the same perfect, silent obedience to the new master as you did to the old one. You are a part of the spoils, like the rice in the storehouse or the armour in the armoury. You feel the tension in the room. The males are trying to establish their new positions. Their voices are a low rumble. You just keep your head down. Your hands are steady. The tea does not spill. You are not a warrior, but your life is just as precarious. Your code is one of pure, pragmatic survival. You slide back, bow your head to the floor, and retreat from the room, your feet making no sound on the wood. Now, you are female from a high-ranking samurai family. Your honour is not something you forge. It is something you carry, like a heavy, decorative box. And it is something that can be traded. Your father, a powerful lord, is arranging a truce with a rival clan. The truce will be sealed by your marriage to the rival lord's son. You have never met this male. You have been told he is much older than you, and that his reputation is not a kind one. This does not matter. You are kneeling in a room. 2 older female attendants are preparing you. It is your wedding day. You are being turned into an object. One female is applying a thick white paste to your face, your neck, your hands. It is a mask of conformity. It smells like rice powder and wax. It feels cold and tight on your skin. Another female is taking a small pot of black dye. You open your mouth. She begins to paint your teeth, one by one, with the thick, dark liquid. It tastes bitter, metallic. This is ohaguro, a sign of status. Your eyebrows have been plucked out, hair by painful hair. Now one of the attendants is painting new ones, small, dark smudges high up on your forehead. You are being erased. Your own face is gone, replaced by this formal, doll-like mask. Finally, they begin to dress you. They put layer after layer of silk on you. A white layer, a red layer, an outer robe of heavy brocade, stitched with coloured threads. The garment is so heavy you can barely sit upright. You are a political pawn. You are a very polite and well-dressed hostage. Your code is to be silent, to be obedient, and to secure this alliance. Your honour is your value as a bargaining chip. You will be sent to this new hostile family, and your duty will be simple. Produce a male heir. That is your entire function. The warrior's code for you is a life of silent endurance in a gilded cage. You are just a signature on a treaty, made of flesh and heavy silk. Now, let's jump forward in time. The wars are over. It is the long, quiet, stagnant centuries of the Edo period. Peace has broken out, and it's the worst thing that could have ever happened to your career. You are a samurai, a warrior with no one to fight. You are a member of a military class in a society that has no military engagements. So, what do you do all day? You are, in essence, a very grumpy accountant. You live in a small, cramped house in a castle town. The wooden walls are thin, and you can hear your neighbours on both sides. You walk to the castle every morning. You are not wearing armour. You are wearing simple dark silk robes. You carry a fan. You enter a long, low building. Inside, it is dark and cool. Dozens of other males, all from your class, all with their hair in the same top knot, are already seated on the floor in neat rows. Each male has a low wooden desk in front of him. You take your place. Your code is no longer about pragmatism or survival. It is about rules. Rigid, stifling, obsessive rules. Your honour is now tied to your ability to perform your bureaucratic duties flawlessly. Your task for the day is to update the inventory of the castle's rice stores. You are given a ledger from a supervisor. You must copy the numbers from one page to another. You must check the calculations. You must ensure that the amount of rice recorded matches the amount of rice reported by the tax collectors. This is your great battle. This is your heroic struggle. You are fighting a war against poor arithmetic. You dip your brush in the ink. You make the first careful stroke on the new page. Your hand is steady. Your value to your lord is not in your strength, but in your neat, legible handwriting. You spend your entire day copying lists. Lists of rice bales. Lists of dried fish. Lists of timber planks for repairing a wall. The room is silent, save for the rustle of paper and the scratching of brushes. The warrior class became the bureaucratic class. The code shifted from one of action to one of perfect ceremonial procedure. How you bow, how you walk, how you hold your fan, how you present a document. This is your new honour. It is a web of social rituals so complex and so absolute that a single misstep, using the wrong level of polite language to a superior, is a disaster. It is, in its own way, as stressful as a battlefield, just without any of the excitement. And what of your financial situation? You are a samurai in this new, peaceful age. You are paid in koku, bales of rice. Your entire yearly salary is a fixed amount of rice. The problem is, you cannot pay for your daughters, your younger females, wedding with rice. You cannot fix the hole in your roof with rice. You need cash. So, you must go to a merchant. You walk through the town. The merchants, the shonen, are technically the lowest class in the social hierarchy. You are the highest, but the merchant is rich, and you are poor. You slide open the door to the rice broker's shop. The air inside is thick with the dry, dusty smell of grain. Bales are stacked to the ceiling. The merchant, a plump male with soft hands and a silk robe far finer than yours, greets you. He bows, but his eyes are appraising. He knows why you are here. You are here to sell your rice stipend. He will take your rice, and he will give you coins in exchange. But the price of rice changes. When the harvest is good, the price plummets. Your fixed salary is suddenly worth half of what it was last year. The merchant knows this. He clicks his abacus, the wooden beads making a dry, sharp sound. He names a price. It is insulting. It is barely enough to cover your debts. Your stomach tightens, and you feel a hot flush on your neck. You want to shout. You want to remind this merchant of your station, of the fact that your ancestors were warriors. But you do not. You cannot, because you owe this merchant money. You are trapped. This merchant, this male you are supposed to despise, holds your entire life in his soft, plump hands. This is the great, unglamorous secret. The honourable warrior class, with all its posturing and claims of moral superiority, became systematically indebted to the merchant class they looked down upon. You walk back to your small, cold house. At night, by the light of a single sputtering candle, you have a secret. You make umbrella frames. You glue the paper to the thin wooden strips. Your fingers, which you were trained to hold a brush, now sticky with rice paste. You sell these to a merchant's agent in secret, just to get a few extra coins. This is the brutal reality of your honour. It doesn't pay the bills. But what about the final honourable act, the one that defines the entire code in our minds? Seppuku, the ritual of self-disembowelment, an act of ultimate courage, of taking responsibility for failure. It is seen as the final, dramatic proof of the warrior's spirit. The reality, as always, was colder and far less voluntary. You are a Kaishakunin. You are the second. You are in a small, bare room in a secluded temple. The room is immaculate. The tatami mats on the floor are new, and they have a clean, grassy smell. The walls are white paper. It is night. The only light comes from 2 tall candles, their flames barely flickering in the still, heavy air. It is utterly silent. In the centre of the room, a male is kneeling. He is a high-ranking samurai, a man you have known your entire life. He failed his lord. He was in charge of a financial negotiation, and he made a disastrous error. His failure is not a personal matter, it is a political one. He must be removed. This ritual is not his choice. It is his execution. It is a death sentence, wrapped in the comforting, formal robes of honour. The male is kneeling on a large white cloth. He is wearing a simple white robe. He has just finished a ritual bath. His face is calm. It is a mask of perfect, rigid control. He has spent the last hour in quiet preparation. In front of him is a small, plain wooden tray. On the tray is a small, rectangular object, wrapped in white, folded cloth. You stand behind him to his left. You are also wearing formal robes. Your hands are empty, but they are clenched at your sides. Your role is simple. Your role is to complete the act. This honourable ritual is, in practice, a 2-person job. The kneeling male will make the first symbolic gesture. He will pick up the wrapped object. He will touch it to his abdomen. He is not expected to complete the act. That is not the point. The point is the ritual itself. Your job is to stand and to wait. You are watching the back of his neck. You are the real instrument here. The air is so thick with tension it feels hard to breathe. The incense burning in the corner is cloying. Too sweet. The candle flames cast long, trembling shadows. The kneeling male is perfectly still. He is not looking at you. He is looking at the white wall in front of him. There is no glory here. There is no epic music. There is just a cold, procedural, and deeply lonely act. It is a solution to a political problem. It is a way for the ruling class to eliminate its own failures without the messiness of a public trial. The honour is the staging. It is the polite fiction that everyone in the room agrees to believe. The brutal reality is the cold floor, the white cloth, and the deafening, awful, patient silence. The kneeling male slowly raises his hands. He reaches for the tray. And now, for the final, most absurd reality of all. You are a male, a scholar, in the late Edo period. The age of the samurai is ending. They are an obsolete class, soon to be dissolved entirely. You are sitting in a quiet, clean room. The sun is streaming in. You are not a warrior. You have never been in a field of action. You have spent your life reading and writing. You are grinding ink. You pour a few drops of water onto a dark stone and begin to rub a solid ink stick in a slow, circular motion. The faint, earthy smell of the ink fills the room. You are writing a book. You are writing about the old ways. You are writing about the spirit of the samurai. You are collecting stories, legends, and oral traditions. You are, for the first time, putting all these floating ideas into one single place. You are writing about loyalty, about courage, about honour. You are writing about the glorious, violent past, an age you have only ever read about. You are, in essence, inventing Bushido. The code that we think of, the one with the specific rules and the poetic, romantic ideals, was not some ancient text. It was largely a creation of the peaceful era, a nostalgic look back at a brutal, pragmatic and messy age that never, ever followed such a simple set of rules. The warriors of the Sengoku Jidai, the ones betraying their lords and scrambling for survival, would not have recognized your words. They were too busy. But your book, this romantic philosophical text, will become famous. It will be the thing that shapes the memory of the samurai, long after the samurai themselves are gone. The code wasn't a manual for living. It was an epitaph, written by the people who came after. We love a good code. It's a powerful, compelling story. It simplifies the past, turning messy, complex, and often desperate human beings into noble symbols. We look back at the idea of Bushido, and we see a path of discipline and honor. But the brutal reality is that this code was a ghost. It was a story told in peacetime about a time of war. It was a set of rules invented long after the game was over. The real people of feudal Japan, the farmer in the mud, the female attendant in the hall, the paranoid captain in the castle, the indebted clerk making umbrellas, they didn't have a code. They had lives, and their reality was far more complicated and far more human than any book of rules could ever capture. The ritual of the tea master. We are all deeply drawn to the idea of ritual. We love the thought of a perfect, quiet, meaningful set of actions that can bring us a sense of peace. And there is perhaps no ritual more romanticized than the Japanese tea ceremony. We picture a simple, clean room, a calm, wise master, and a moment of pure, Zen-like bliss. But history, as we know, is rarely that simple. The brutal reality is that behind this image of tranquility was a world of intense social pressure, back-breaking labour, and political manoeuvring. The simple act of drinking tea was, for many, one of the most high-stakes and stressful performances of their lives. Tonight, we are going to go inside that quiet, simple room. We're going to explore the labour, the pressure, and the hidden human cost behind the ritual of the tea master. Your story begins on a mountain. You're a female. The sky is not yet light, just a pale, cold grey. You're walking up a steep, muddy path, your bare feet finding familiar holds in the stones and roots. The air is damp and cool, and a thick mist hangs between the dark, spiky trees. You are not alone. Ahead of you and behind you are other females, a silent line of figures moving up the slope. The only sound is the slide of feet on the path and the chirping of insects just waking up. You are carrying an empty shallow basket, its woven strap cutting into your shoulder. Your back already has the memory of an ache, a dull throb that will sharpen as the day goes on. You've been doing this for years. You were a younger female when you first followed your mother up this path. Now, your own younger female, not yet old enough to work, waits for you in the hut below. You reach the tea bushes. They are not wild. They are planted in long, neat, terrace-like rows that cling to the side of the mountain. The leaves are a dark, glossy green, wet with the morning dew. You take your position. You and the other females spread out, becoming dots on the landscape. You begin to pick. Your hands are your tool. They are stained a yellowish-brown from the juices of the leaves. Your fingertips are calloused, but the skin around your nails is split and raw. You are not just grabbing handfuls. Your task is precise. You must pluck only the 2 leaves and a bud, the softest, newest growth at the very tip of the branch. Snip. Your fingers make a small pinching motion. The tiny cluster of leaves drops into the palm of your hand. Snip. Snip. You move with a practiced, steady rhythm. Your mind is empty. You are not thinking about philosophy. You are not thinking about tranquility. You are thinking about the wasp you saw earlier. You are thinking about the ache in your lower back. The sun begins to rise. The mist burns off and the heat comes. It is a wet, heavy heat that makes your rough spun tunic stick to your back. The smell is sharp, green and grassy. It is the smell of the leaves, the smell of the sun hitting the wet earth. It is the smell of your labour. You are not allowed to wear any scents, any oils. The belief is that your smell could contaminate the leaves. So you smell of sweat and the mountain and the green stain on your hands. You move slowly along the row. Snip, snip, snip. Your hand moves from the branch to your palm to the basket on your back. Hours pass. The sun is high now, beating directly on your head. You have a wide straw hat, but the heat is relentless. Your basket is growing heavy. The strap cuts deep into the muscle of your shoulder. You shift it, but there is no comfortable position. You are thirsty. A younger male comes by with a wooden bucket of water. You are allowed to stop, to take one scoop in a small wooden cup. The water is lukewarm and tastes of the bucket. You drink it, and the younger male moves on. You are not allowed a long break. A supervisor, a male in a cleaner robe, walks along the rows. He does not speak to you. He just watches. He watches your hands. He looks in your basket. If he sees too many tough older leaves, he will shout. He will make you dump your basket out and start again. You keep your head down. You focus on the leaves. 2 leaves and a bud. Snip. 2 leaves and a bud. Snip. Your body is a machine, performing one single repetitive motion. This is the source of the calm ritual. It begins here, with you, in the burning sun, with a breaking back. At the end of the day, when the sun is touching the opposite ridge, the supervisor shouts. The picking is done. You and the other females line up. Your baskets are heavy now, full of the green, fragrant leaves. You wait. The male supervisor weighs each basket on a simple wooden scale. He peers at the leaves. He shakes his head, clicks his tongue. He tells you your leaves are too wet, and he will have to take some of the payment off. This happens every day. It is part of his own ritual. You are given your payment. It is not coin. It is a scoop of rice. Not the clean, white rice, but the broken, dusty rice from the bottom of the sack. This is your wage for a full day of back-breaking, skilled labour. You put the small pouch of rice into your robe. You take your empty basket. You turn, and you begin the long, slow walk back down the mountain. Your feet are sore. Your knees ache from the slope. You are thinking of the fire you must build, the rice you must cook. You will never taste the tea you are picking. You have no idea what it is for. It is just a green leaf that the lords in the city want. A green leaf that becomes, for you, a handful of broken rice. Now, you are a younger male. You are in the city. You are an apprentice to a great tea master. This sounds very grand. Your family was proud. They paid a large sum for you to have this position. You have been here for 3 years. In those 3 years, you have not been allowed to touch a tea bowl. You have not been allowed to touch a whisk. You are, in essence, a janitor and a water carrier. Your day begins before the masters. It begins in the absolute dark, hours before sunrise. You sleep on a thin mat in a cold, wooden-floored room at the back of the small compound. You wake to the sound of the temple bell far in the distance. You do not make a sound. You slide on your straw sandals. Your first job is the water. The master insists on the first well water of the day. You must be the first person at the local well. You take the 2 wooden buckets, balanced on a thick pole across your shoulders. You walk through the silent, sleeping streets. The air is cold. You can see your breath. You reach the well. You drop the bucket. The splash it makes echoes in the darkness. You haul it up, hand over hand. The rope is wet and cold, and it stings your palms. The bucket is heavy. You fill the second one. You heave the pole onto your shoulders. The weight is immense. The wood digs into your muscles. You begin the walk back. You must not slosh the water. You must not spill a drop. Your steps are tiny, careful, measured. Your shoulders are on fire. Your legs tremble. This is your first lesson in tea. How to carry an agonizing amount of weight without showing it. You return to the compound. You pour the water into a large ceramic cistern in the back. This is the water for the day. Now your second task, the roji, the garden path. This is not a grand, colourful garden. It is a small, narrow path of moss and stepping stones. It is supposed to look natural. This natural look is your life's work. You must sweep the path. But you cannot just sweep. You must pick up any unsuitable leaves. A leaf that is too brown. A leaf that is the wrong shape. You must leave a few perfect leaves, as if they had just fallen. Then the moss. The moss must be dewy. You take a small ladle and a bucket, and you sprinkle water on the moss to make it glisten. You are, in effect, faking the morning dew. This is the brutal reality of natural simplicity. It is entirely artificial, and it is maintained by your aching knees. You spend an hour in the cold, damp garden, manicuring it. You are a landscape artist whose medium is moss and dead leaves. Now, the charcoal. You go to the shed. You take a bag of charcoal. You take it to the washing basin. Yes, you wash the charcoal. You take each black dusty piece and you scrub it with a stiff brush in the cold water. Why? So it will burn without any impure smell. So it will be clean. Your hands are black. The skin is cracked and bleeding from the cold and the grit. You spend an hour scrubbing black lumps of wood. This is your life. This is the art of tea. Finally, the tea room itself. It is tiny. You must crawl into it through the nijiriguchi, a tiny square door that forces you onto your hands and knees. Inside, it is dark. You do not clean. You purify. You have a feather duster made from a hawk's wing. You dust the wooden beams. You dust the paper screen. Then you take a new, clean, damp cloth. You wipe the tatami mats. You wipe them in a specific direction. You wipe the wooden frame of the alcove. The master will check your work. He has a small white silk cloth. He will wipe the places you have wiped. If a single speck of dust appears on his cloth, you will be in trouble. You will not be shouted at. That would be too indelicate. You will simply be given a look of profound disappointment, and you will be back to washing charcoal for another 6 months. The pressure to be perfect is absolute. You are not learning an art. You are being trained in obedience, in perfection, in the total erasure of your own self. You are a ghost. You are a tool for cleaning. Now you are a different kind of craftsman. You are a potter. You are sitting in a hot, smoky, cramped hut. The air is thick with the smell of clay, wood smoke, and sweat. You are a male, and you are covered in a fine, grey dust. You are at a simple wooden wheel, which you kick with your foot. Kick, spin, kick, spin. The rhythm is part of you. In your hands, you have a lump of dark, gritty clay. You are not making a delicate, white, painted piece of pottery. You are making a raku bowl, a tea bowl. The master, your father, has told you the lords want wabi-sabi. They want imperfection. This is the most stressful thing you can ask a craftsman. You are trained to make things perfect, symmetrical, strong. Now, you must make them imperfect. Perfectly. You form the bowl. You do not use a tool to smooth it. You use your hands, your thumbs. You leave the ridges. You let it be a little lopsided. You stop. You look at it. Is this the right kind of lopsided? Is this the profound kind of imperfection? Or is it just a bad bowl? You have no idea. You have made 20 of these this week. Your father has smashed 18 of them. He will take the 2 he likes and fire them. You are making art for a philosophy you do not understand. You are just trying to make a bowl that your father will not break. You set the lopsided grey bowl aside to dry. You grab another lump of clay. Kick, spin, kick, spin. You try to make your thumb accidentally press just a little too deep to give it character. This is not art. This is guesswork. Days later, the bowls are dry. It is time for the fire. This is the brutal reality of raku. It is not a slow, gentle process. It is a trial by fire. You are standing in front of a small cylindrical kiln built of brick and clay. It is roaring hot. The air shimmers above it. You have already applied the glaze. A simple, dark, brownish-black liquid. The bowls are inside. You wait. You watch the colour of the flame. Your father, a silent, grim-faced male, stands beside you. He nods. Now, you take a pair of long, heavy iron tongs. You open the kiln door. The heat hits you like a physical wall. It sears your eyebrows and dries your throat instantly. Inside, the bowls are glowing a bright, demonic orange. They are pulsing with heat. You carefully grip the edge of one of the glowing bowls with your tongs. You lift it. It is a tiny, molten sun. You are sweating, your hands shaking. You must not drop it. You pull it from the fire, the sudden cold air hitting the glowing ceramic. You turn. You plunge the glowing bowl into a bucket filled with dry rice straw. It bursts into flame. A cloud of thick, acrid black smoke boils up into your face. You cough, your eyes watering. This is it. This is the magic. The smoke, the fire, the sudden change in temperature. This is what will give the glaze its character, its random cracks and dark, smoky patches. You let it burn for a minute. Then you pull it out of the burning straw and plunge it into a bucket of cold water. A violent hiss and a cloud of steam. The sound of the ceramic contracting. You wait. The water stops boiling. You reach in. You pull out the bowl. It is black. It is streaked with coppery, iridescent flashes from the smoke. It is covered in a fine, web-like pattern of cracks in the glaze. And it is in one piece. You look at it. Your father takes it from your hand. He turns it over. He looks at the foot. He looks at the way the glaze stopped just short of the bottom. He grunts. This is the highest form of praise you will ever receive. He places it on a shelf. It is a good one. You look back at the kiln. You have 4 more to pull from the fire. You wipe the sweat and soot from your face with your forearm. Your heart is pounding. This is not a peaceful, zen-like art. This is a hot, dangerous and smoky ordeal, where your success is almost entirely up to chance. Let's change perspective. You are a male. You are not a farmer, or an apprentice, or a potter. You are a daimyo, a warlord. You are one of the most powerful men in the province. You have just come from a meeting where you discussed troop movements and rice taxes. Now, you are kneeling. You are in a tiny 4.5 mat room. You are here for tea. You are in full formal robes. They are made of stiff, heavy silk. They are hot. Your knees are on fire. You have been kneeling in the seiza position for what feels like an eternity. Your feet are completely, painfully asleep. You are here to appreciate the tea of your host, another powerful lord. But you are not here for relaxation. This is not a break. This is the continuation of your political battle, just with different tools. You are here to judge. You are here to show your own taste and to probe your rivals. You are trapped. The tiny room feels smaller, the air thicker. The tea master, a thin male with a shaved head, is performing his ritual. He moves. He wipes the bowl. He scoops the water. It is all very slow. You are, quite frankly, bored, and you are in pain, but you must not show it. Your face is a mask of calm, detached appreciation. This is your performance. You watch the master. You watch your host. Your host is watching you. He is watching you watch the master. This is a game of silent observation. The master finally presents you with the bowl. It is a dark, lopsided thing. You know for a fact that your host traded a small fortress for this bowl. It is, by any sane measure, a simple, cracked, brown clay cup. But in this room, it is a symbol of immense wealth and refined taste. You must pick it up correctly. You cradle it in your left hand. You support it with your right. You turn it twice, so that you do not drink from its front. These are the rules. You are a male who commands thousands, but in this room you are a student, terrified of holding a cup the wrong way. You drink the tea. It is thick. It is green. It is shockingly bitter. It tastes like concentrated, high-quality grass. It coats your tongue. You must not grimace. You finish it in 3.5 sips. This is also the rule. You must make a loud, appreciative slurp on the last sip to show that you have enjoyed it. It is the most absurdly formal slurp you have ever performed. You then must admire the bowl. You turn it over. You look at the crack. You nod. You say one word. Profound. Your host smiles. You have passed the test. You have both successfully participated in this high-stakes, deeply uncomfortable, and ridiculously expensive performance. Now you can get to the real business, threatening him over his border patrols. Now you are a wealthy merchant. You are in your shop, a large, clean, street-facing building. You are sitting on a cushion. You are technically, according to the social order, at the bottom. You are a chonin. You are not a samurai. You do not produce anything. You only buy and sell. Across from you, kneeling on the floor, is a high-ranking samurai. He is a retainer to a great lord. He is here, in your shop, and he is nervous. You can see the small bead of sweat on his shaved temple. You, the merchant, are in charge, because you have something his lord wants. You have something his lord needs to complete his collection, to prove his status to his rivals. You have a heian, a small ceramic tea caddy. It is no bigger than your fist. It is a dark brownish red. It is, to your eyes, a simple jar, but it has a history. It was owned by 3 famous tea masters. It has a lineage. It comes in a small plain wooden box. That box comes in another lacquered box. That box comes in another silk-lined box. You are selling a jar. Inside a box. Inside a box. Inside a box. The samurai asks to see it. You clap your hands. Your apprentice, a younger male, brings it out. He places it between you. You, the merchant, untie the silk cord on the outer box. You open it. You take out the inner box. You open it. You take out the final box. You open it. You take the small jar, which is resting in a silk pouch, out of the pouch. You place the jar on a square of purple silk. The whole process takes 10 minutes. The samurai just watches, his hands clenched on his knees. He stares at the jar. He does not speak. You do not speak. The silence in the shop is thick. He is a warrior. You are a shopkeeper. But in this moment, you have all the power. He finally speaks. My lord is interested in this piece. You nod slowly. You know what this means. He's asking the price. You name a number. It is an astronomical number. It is the price of 100 horses, of a whole year's rice tax from a large village. The samurai's face twitches. Just a small, involuntary movement. He does not have this money. His lord does. But he has to be the one to go back and ask for it. He has to justify paying the price of a small army for a jar. You just sit. You are not worried. You know he will pay, because in this new peaceful age, honour and status are no longer won on a field of action. They are won in the tea room. And you are the one selling the ammunition. Let's go back to you, the apprentice. 10 years have passed. You are no longer a younger male. You are a male. You are no longer washing charcoal. You are no longer hauling water. You are now the master's chief apprentice. Today, you are finally allowed to serve the tea. Not to a guest. You are serving the master. It is just the two of you in the small, silent room. This is your final exam. You have been training for this for a decade. You have learned the kata, the forms. You have learned how to walk, how to kneel, how to stand. You have learned how to fold the fukusa, the silk cloth, in one perfect fluid motion. You've learned how to hold the hishiku, the bamboo ladle, so that when you scoop the water, the single drop that falls back into the kettle makes the correct sound. Your entire body is a tool trained to perform 1,000 tiny, precise and natural movements. You are kneeling at the brazier. The master is kneeling opposite you. He is just watching. His face is blank. You begin. You take the silk cloth from your sash. You fold it. Your hands are shaking. After 10 years, your hands are still shaking. You wipe the tea caddy. You wipe the scoop. The movements are so practiced that your body does them for you, but your mind is screaming. Don't drop the cloth. Don't hit the ladle. Don't make the wrong fold. You scoop the powdered green tea into the bowl. You take the ladle. You scoop the hot water from the iron kettle. The kettle is singing, a high, thin whistling sound. You pour the water into the bowl. You put the ladle down. It must be placed in the exact correct spot. You pick up the chasen, the bamboo whisk. You begin to whisk. A fast, sharp back and forth motion of the wrist. You are not stirring. You are frothing. You are creating a thick green foam. Your wrist aches. You must make the foam perfect. You stop. You lift the whisk, turn it and draw it out of the centre, leaving a small raised peak of foam. You present the bowl to the master. You turn it twice, so the front is facing him. He nods. He picks it up. He drinks. He finishes with the formal slurp. He puts the bowl down. He says nothing. He just looks at you. The silence stretches. Your heart is a drum in your chest. You are sweating. Your entire 10-year education comes down to this one silent green bitter cup. The master nods. Just once. A tiny, almost imperceptible motion. You let out a breath you did not know you were holding. You have passed. You are now finally considered a tea person. You are not happy. You are not enlightened. You are just empty. You are a collection of perfect, nerveless, practiced motions. Now you are the master. You are the one being watched. You are an older male, your head shaved, your robes simple and dark. You are in your small 4.5 mat tea room. It is raining. You can hear the drops on the roof, a soft, steady patter. It is a good sound. But you are not at peace. Your 2 guests have just arrived. They are 2 of the most powerful samurai in the province. They are rivals. They hate each other. There is a rumour of open conflict coming. They have left their attendants and their long, sharp objects outside. They have crawled through the tiny door. They are kneeling. The room is so small their knees are almost touching. The tension is a physical thing. It is like a third, invisible, and very large guest. It makes the air thick. You are not a warrior. You are not a politician. But in this moment, You are the most important male in the province. You are the host. You are the buffer. Your art is the only thing keeping this situation stable. Your simple, calm, prescribed, slow motions are the only thing holding this room together. You begin. You move with an economy of motion. There is no wasted energy. No part of you trembles. You are a rock in the center of this storm. You move to the brazier. You add a single piece of your washed, clean charcoal. The small, red sparks are the only bright thing in the dim room. You heat the water. The iron kettle begins to sing. The hiss of the water is the only sound, along with the rain. You are not thinking about the ritual. You are thinking about the way the First Lord's hand is clenched on his knee. You are thinking about the way the Second Lord is staring at the flower in the alcove, but not seeing it. You are the calm center. You are performing peace. You whisk the tea. The sound is loud in the silence. You hand the bowl to the First Lord. He drinks. He performs the slurp. He admires the bowl. He says, profound. You take the bowl. You clean it with precise folded cloth. You make a new bowl of tea. You hand it to the Second Lord. He drinks. He performs the slurp. He admires the bowl. He says, a fine bowl. They are not here for tea. They are here because you are here. Your hut is the only place they can meet without their attendants, without the posturing of their castles. You are a neutral, respected figure. Your art is a political buffer zone. You are sweating under your robes. Now you are a female. You are the wife of a high-ranking samurai in the peaceful Edo period. You have been trained in the tea ceremony. It is one of the many arts you were required to learn, along with flower arranging, playing a stringed instrument, and calligraphy. Your art is not for political maneuvering. It is for social display. It is part of your family's presentation of its own culture. Break time SS. You're in your family's grand reception hall. A special, rustic tea room has been built into the corner of this massive, gilded room. It is a strange contrast. You are dressed in 12 layers of heavy, restrictive silk. Your face is coated in the thick white paste. Your eyebrows are plucked and repainted high on your forehead. Your teeth are dyed black. You are a perfect formal doll. You are performing the ceremony for your husband and his important political guest. You are not a master, you are a hostess. Your movements are perfect. They are fluid. They are completely impersonal. You are a demonstration of your husband's status. See? Your presence says, my household is so ordered, so cultured, that even my wife performs this complex art flawlessly. You are not a person. You are a feature. You hand the bowl to your husband. He grunts. He's in the middle of a low-voiced conversation with his guest about rice taxes. He takes the bowl, drinks it in 2 quick gulps, not the prescribed 3.5, and hands it back to you, his mind already back on his conversation. He does not slurp. He does not admire the bowl. He barely notices the tea. You take the bowl. You clean it. You prepare the next one for the guest. You are the highest status, most invisible female in the room. Your ritual is just a high-class way of serving refreshments. And now centuries have passed. You are in a room. It is very quiet. The floor is polished wood. The air is perfectly still, and you can feel a low, mechanical hum. It is the climate control. The light is low, coming from small, precise spots on the ceiling. You are standing in front of a tall case made of thick, clear material. Inside, on a simple grey stand, is a brown, lopsided bowl. It is covered in a web of cracks. It is the bowl from the potter's hut. It is the bowl the warlord held. It is perfect. It is flawless in its imperfection. It rests here, an object of art. A small, neat square of printed paper is next to the case. You cannot read the words, as per our rules, but you know they describe its history, its profound qualities, its name, its lineage. It is presented as the singular creation of a culture, a symbol of an entire philosophy. But you see it differently. You are here, in this calm, silent room, but you can smell the river mud on the tea picker's hands. You can feel the searing heat of the tatra on the potter's face. You can feel the agonizing weight of the water buckets on the apprentice's shoulders. You can feel the aching knees of the warlord kneeling on the mat. You can feel the political tension in the room, thick as smoke. All the labour, all the pain, all the fear, all the human cost. It has all been washed away, polished off, leaving only this art, this silent, empty, priceless object resting in a temperature-controlled box.